before we get going, why don't we go around the table and introduce our characters a little bit? And since we're all we're still getting settled, feel free to drop a few lines about who your character is and where they're from.
All right. Hi, I'm Aiden. I play Kane Harbinger. He's a human wizard fighter. He comes from Waterdeep from the Spellguard and is now who has now come to Ashenbenford looking, and then to
Flan,
town,
yeah.
yeah, in the
Flan.
land now,
Yep.
looking for his uncle.
Oh, me. Hi, sorry. My name's Kelsey. I am playing Clara. She is a half-elf sorcerer with wild magic, so, it's going to be fun that way. She is very mistrusting of people. She has a lot of trust issues, as the party has seen past couple of sessions. And she has these feelings of she needs to go places, and she wants to find out all she can with knowledge and learning everything she can about the history and temples. Just she's a sponge. She wants to learn. Yeah.
Fantastic.
My name's Shady. I play Runt. She is a human rogue. She's very young, preteen, and she is a runaway who joined up with some bad people who taught her some bad things, and now she's joined up with a pretty cool Dragonborn paladin that she's following around.
And I would be the Dragonborn paladin. So my name is Brad, and I play Rogar Norixius, and he is a brass Dragonborn paladin of Helm. The location of his birth was of question, but ultimately spent most of his time in Baldur's Gate, trying to figure out exactly what he needed to do. And now that he has a quest, he also has a friend in Runt, and we are going about with this merry band of adventurers to see what life brings us.
And lastly, I'm Luna, and I play Geen, who is a human monk, way of the Kensei, and she originates from Kozakara, all the way in the Far East, but she's made the 1.5-year journey in order to find her older sister, who she one evening discovered was sold to some villainous trader, spice trader from the West. So she's on this mission. She found all of these lovely people who are helping her find her sister.
And my name's Tim, and I am the highly caffeinated and wildly abstract DM for this game. Great pleasure to be playing with all these fine folks. So with that, I guess we can kick it off.
Yeah.
All right. Last time on Banner and Chance, our adventurers finished dinner at the manor of Jahar Brightsong. This famous minstrel informed them that Uncle Burkle had been in the employ of an unsavory spice trader and the merchant Kara Thor, and had since disappeared. Because this minstrel suspected foul play, she bade our travelers to go out of the Dale Land, past the ruins in Tarum Keep, and follow the iron route to the city of Flan on the north edge of the Moonsea. This famous minstrel also pledged her sponsorship of this quest to locate, rescue, or revenge Kane's lost uncle, Berkelish Dormir. So our adventurers left dinner only to find that they had been evicted from the inn where they were staying, with the innkeeper already having packed their weapons and possibles. And they were provided a cart and 4 horses, which were hitched, saddled, and ready. The innkeeper, when he was asked, insisted that they leave for their safety and the safety of everybody in town. To punctuate this ejection from the inn and the town, they were set upon by a vicious ghost of this crushed elven maiden. The party fought together to defeat this specter. They survived unscathed, though the victory cost them one of their new mounts. They then embarked on a long journey, 15 days to Flan, which gave the party an opportunity to learn more about each other and prepare a strategy to hide their identities. But when they approached the gate of Flan, they nearly found themselves arrested by a large group of Blackfists and a local guard. It was only after a second larger group of these same Blackfists arrived and an argument ensued under two commanders over who should have custody of our adventurers that they were able to be guided to the compound of the merchant Braden Yill. When they arrived, Braden Yill paid the guards that had bore them safely to his care and welcomed them inside, at which point he told Geen that he, or at least he alluded to the fact that he knew something of Geen's sister. And that's where we find ourselves now.
Oh, that's cool. Sorry, just one thing. We're not live on Twitch. Are we on Banter and Chance or AOO?
Banter and Chance.
Banter and Chance, yeah.
Never mind, ignore me.
That's fine. So, no problem. Okay. You find yourself in the study, a large entertaining area where Braden Yill obviously conducts some business. He came in, he welcomed you in, and now you're being seen to by his servants. He's arranging rooms for you. You can see your goods are being brought in, what you have. They're being carried upstairs. There's a crackling fire in the corner. There is the ability to get warm. He has drinks brought. And you can hear that somewhere nearby there is a what would amount to a lunchroom or something where his staff are eating. And across the hallway where you came in, there's an office where people are able to, where there's business being conducted. What would you like to do?
I'm speaking with Geen, who may very well be bewildered, pulling her aside for a moment, saying, "You don't trade money for love." That seems to suggest that Kane's uncle might very well be with your sister.
I don't understand what he means. Did his uncle take her?
I don't think he took her. It sounds like she might have gone willingly. He turned down the coin. And if this Carathor is who he says, or everyone describes him to be, then they are both in mortal danger.
So are they still with Carathor, or did they run away? I still don't understand.
It seems as though they ran away, and perhaps we can get more out of this Braden Yill.
You can see that Braden Yill is he's opposite the hallway. He's signing several documents. He's sending some people on his way. He's conducting some business, and he seems like obviously a very busy man trying to meet some deadlines or something along those lines. But when he notices that you're all staring his direction, he sort of looks up from his work and almost remembers that you're there. He's so distracted. And he hurries across the hallway. And he says, "Are your needs being seen to?"
Well, absolutely. We have had everything that we've needed so far. Everything but information. We understand that you're busy, but if you could take just a moment, we might have a few questions for you, as you may have for us.
I would suggest, sir, that you get yourself settled, and we'll meet back here in a little under an hour. My business will be concluded then, and we can talk all you'd like. We have much to plan. And with that, he steps out of the room, and servants come in, and they guide you upstairs to a set of rooms. They've got the men bunking together, and a room of 3 for the ladies, and they offer you warm towels and things that you can freshen up with, and instruct you that dinner will be served in about an hour, and Mr. Yil will be hosting. Is there anything you'd like to do while you're waiting that hour?
Clara would very much love the chance to finally get clean and just refresh herself. And, days and days on the road, and she is not happy. So she's
Sure.
going to go and bathe.
You have a servant provided to you for your room, and she guides you to a place where you can have a very quick wash.
Okay.
Obviously not a drawn bath because there isn't
Yeah.
a lot of time, but she gives you an opportunity to get clean.
Okay. So what can you tell me of this Braden Yale?
Ma'am, I'm sorry. I really don't discuss my master's business. It wouldn't do well for us to speak, let alone listen. So
Apologies.
she quickly hurries out of the room.
Okay.
The hour passes. If you don't want to do anything else, assuming that you'll all just be.
I'm bathing.
I want to check on Runt.
Runt is in the room with the other two ladies, I
Yeah.
assume.
She's been perusing the room for anything that strikes her fancy.
Okay.
Anything?
I'll knock on the door softly.
I'll open the door.
Is all well?
I look back to Rent, who's just perusing the room. I think so.
Runt, you see that there's little doilies around underneath lamps. There's some brushes and whatnot that are out for guests to use. There's a mirror, a large mirror. There's empty cabinets that have been filled with what you did bring in. At least it's been laid out somewhat.
Definitely taking
and-
some of those brushes.
Okay. You take a brush or two brushes, and there's one left. They're sort of run-of-the-mill wooden brushes, almost low cost. You could see that they would have been replaced or washed several times. So
They're valuable to me.
okay, one of them has some hair in it yet. So
Ooh.
Ew.
okay. Anyone else want to any other chatting or anything? We'll leave it there for now. You soon hear a dinner bell is rung. It's a simple triangle, and the business and whatnot has been calming down. The yard, you could hear several wagons pulling away, and you can tell that this is sort of the nighttime routine of the compound. Torches are being lit, guards are being posted. Several of the workers are finding their way to the dorms and to the staff lodgings that are around. This all happens. It seems like it's very, very routine here. It's a well-practiced business. You descend the stairs again, and you're back down into the foyer, and you're quickly guided into what seem like the private residences of Braden Yill. And you find him standing at the end of a large table, and the table has been set out with hearty food, nothing overly fancy. The table is large. It's made of hewn timber that's been planed and scraped down to be quite comfortable. But obviously, this is a man that is relatively frugal, but obviously has everything is large and rich. However, none of it is overly fancy. You're guided to your chairs. You're welcome to feast on the meat and potatoes and vegetables that are there.
Run's gonna reach across the table and just start grabbing things and shoving them into her mouth.
Run. No. Remember. Be nice.
Braden motions to his manservant and instructs him to pour wine for the group. And then he says, I understand You are looking for Burkle.
Yes.
Perhaps you can help me understand just how badly you want him and why.
I
You
can
seem to
rely,
know my part of the story.
but you haven't heard mine fully. I've I guess you can say I've come into hard times in Waterdeep. He told me if I was ever in trouble, I could come and see him, and he would help me out. And now I hear that he's gone and in trouble, and I would like to help him now.
Burkle is a friend of mine. I can tell you what I know, and I believe I can help you help him. But I'll also tell you that I don't think it will be easy or safe.
What do you mean it's not safe?
You see, Burkle is run afoul of Karathor, and Karathor is not someone you want to get on the wrong side of. Have you heard of this Karathor?
Many times, yes.
Unfortunately, only in shadow, not actual practice. What sort of man are we dealing with?
Karathor is the worst type of merchant that I know, and he is everywhere in the north. He is everywhere in the east. He is everywhere in the south. He is someone not to be trifled with, and we do our best to operate despite his influence. My house and the other houses of the Lord's Alliance managed to have considerable sway up here, but it doesn't mean that we are safe. His influence is growing. He is marauding the trade routes, and I have to tell you, it was a real surprise when he came here looking for Braden. It wasn't something I thought I would ever see.
What exactly is it that he specializes in?
Karathor?
Mm-hmm.
He's a
He has to
merchant.
have something that
He's a merchant that will deal in almost anything, but I would say he's particularly useful to people who are interested in rare things. He's useful to people who are interested in trading in things that aren't good for society. They're not good for others. They're not looked well upon. Let's just say they're things that we refuse to deal in. Although he takes a fair chunk of our market, as legitimate as it is, he seems to have his fingers in everything.
Hmm.
But let's get down to why you're here. I received the Lady Brightsong's note. It came to us over a sending stone that was housed by one of the travelers that knew her. She warned us of your coming, told us to prepare, and said that you were coming to look for Burkle. She mentioned you, nephew. And she mentioned you. And he motions to Dean. So I would like to know, what are you willing to put on the line to save this man? Because I do not think it's going to be easy.
Kane?
He's my. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just asking.
Mm.
Kane?
He's my family.
Okay.
I would do anything for family.
Do you understand, or would you know why he put everything on the line? Would you know why he would have crossed a man like Karathor? Because the story is, you're aware of the story of what he's done, yes?
I have not. The last time I've heard from him was when he told my family that he had to go away for a while.
Oh. So none of you are aware of what has transpired. All right. Well, let me tell you. 3 months ago, Burkle He was down alongside the sea of fallen stars, and he was meant to receive a long-haul cargo vessel that had traveled from the east. There was a special delivery, you see, and he was supposed to take this to Karathor and his stronghold, wherever that may be. And he and his private militia, this security company, they were there waiting. And by all accounts, he decided he collected the cargo, and you have to understand this is spotty for me because he told me very little when I saw him last. He simply decided not to go. He headed north. He came here to Flan. He looked me up. He asked me to help him gather provisions. And all he would say is he intended to go where he could not be found. And it was my belief he was going to head into the wilds, out into the Ride or some such place, looking for solitude and solace.
With the cargo? The special cargo? Or just by himself?
Well, this is where it gets interesting. He came with a servant. And that servant, miss, had the look of you. And he points to Geen. You see, he was getting ready, and then he left, and the servant did not return, and he was coming in and out of the city, and I would see him now and again, and he was gathering things up, and then he was gone. A few weeks later, Karathor himself arrives with Braden's company in tow, not taking orders from Braden, but taking orders directly from Karathor. They swept through Flan. He bought off and bribed and recruited everyone, including many of our Black Fist guards, some of which I believe you met.
Unfortunately, we did. So they are not, I guess, tied to your allegiance?
A man like Zerkram is never tied to my allegiance, lady.
Good to know.
But there
You
are
can
two types.
There are two types.
Blaine was the other.
Blaine is the other. He is a man of, well, let's just say comparable honor. He still is risking much. He's risking his life to cross a man like Zergrim. It's only his station and respect in the city that allow him to get away with it. But even he, I would say, is not safe. He is constantly protected by his own men. Weeks later, after Karathru had arrived, he seemed satisfied. Well, he and a contingent decided to leave. It was understood they had some sort of prisoner. They boarded a barge ship, and they left the shores of Flan, and I can only assume to go back south. Burko was not heard from for several weeks. We thought he was dead. It wasn't until later that we understood that there was a hunt for Burkle and he had been captured. I believe.
Him?
Pardon me?
Only him? Only he was captured?
I don't know the details, I'm sorry. What I can say is that Burko was captured by allies of Karathur. There are pirating types. There are marauding types. They travel the roads. There are men like Zerkram. He was captured weeks later, or I'm sure he would be dead, or he would be with Karathur. And I believe he's being held here until Karathur can decide what to do with him.
So, you say you don't know all of the information. Who are you getting your information from? Maybe you can point us in their direction, and we would be able to find out for certain if we can find dear Uncle Burkle.
What I know is that Burkle is, I believe he is held with potentially someone who is helping him, but I believe he was held in a rotten place called Grimshackle Jail. Grimshackle Jail is a prison keep. It's about a half day's ride from here, north. You can get there relatively easy, but when you're there, it's not an easy place. It's perhaps the hardest jail that we have in the Moonsea. It's definitely the most miserable. I've tried to inquire about his well-being and whatnot, and I have to say that the jailers are relatively tight-lipped. I would have mounted a rescue myself, but you see, we have a lot to do, and we have our own business with the Alliance to take care of. And I cannot soften my defenses.
Can I do an insight check just to see if I think he's hiding anything from us?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Is that
Okay.
wisdom?
Can I just do a general insight check just to make sure all the story checks out? Just
Yeah.
overall?
Sure.
Yeah, sorry.
That's a 5.
15.
Kane, you don't see anything that is wrong with what he said so far. I'm sure if you wanted to ask him something specific about your uncle, he could. But I think with his general actions and by your nose, he seems to be on the up and up.
Cool. Awesome.
When you saw Burkle and the servant, how did she seem?
At first, I thought she was a slave. Burko's not the kind of man to keep slaves. And she was dressed well enough, but she was fearful, eyes darting around. She clung to Burkle like moss clings to a stone, hardly wanting to let him go. I was surprised to see him without her the next time he came into town, but he seemed more relaxed when he didn't have her in tow. He wasn't wearing his usual robes either. He was covered up. He was obviously trying to stay hidden. And by the look of his clothes, remember, this was still the edge of winter. He had come a long way when I saw him next.
So if I understand properly, Karathor came here looking for Burkle. Soon after, he left satisfied with a prisoner.
Yes.
And soon after that, Burkle was captured and taken to Shackled Jail?
Grim Shackle Jail. Yes,
Grim Shackle.
it was about a week later. He was taken. And I only heard about it. I never saw him after that. But my understanding is he was apprehended. I don't know where they took this prisoner. I don't know Karathor as well as Burkle does.
Does Karathor have anything to do with the Zentarum network?
I can't say. The Zentarum network, it's been disrupted, as you know, but flies all seem to swarm a pile of shit. So I wouldn't be surprised.
The keep is being rebuilt. Were you aware?
Yes, I'm aware. I'm aware. We have a lot of trade that passes by that keep. We don't always know where our wares go, but we do see the construction from the road. I can't say if it's the Zentarum of old, mind you, but something's going on there.
It would be an excellent place to hide.
Could be. But Karathor usually craves warmer climates, I am to understand. Burkle always said that he never told me where it was, but that the stronghold was lavish and warm and not like the Dalelands and definitely not like the Heartlands, so I can imagine that he would have also returned there, potentially. Again, I don't know as well as Burkle would. And even then, I don't know how you would get him. What I would say is his agents and his spies are everywhere, and you must be careful. That reminds me, and he stands up, heads over to the fireplace. There is a little silver gong, and he rings it. And as the gong rings, this little hanging bell, the dessert is brought in. He says, Let us finish this fine meal together as friends and enjoy this delicacy. This is last year's honey. It's delicious. Let us plan what we're going to do next.
What we're going to do next? Do you want in on this?
You see, I love Burko. He was a brother to me. I don't want to see him harmed. We spent many a night on the road together. If I can help, I will.
Can I do an insight check again?
Yep, go on.
10.
Yeah, he seems honest, forthright.
Okay.
Here's what I would.
Men,
Hmm.
do they have anything that could be identified? Something we can look for to know?
That is a hard question, only because there are several people here that would be the lackeys of Karathor. You, as I say, you've met some of them in Zerkram. You would see others. There is a band of disgraced knights, disgraced warriors called the Grey Cloak that are around these parts. They have worked for him, marauded on the route and on the seas, pirates. I can't say that there's any identifying marks that you're going to see on Karathor. He's too slippery, that one. Again, you need someone who knows. If you can save Braden, I think you can get the answers you seek.
Tell me, are there any spots you would recommend in town where one could find information?
I think you could investigate. However, as I say, if Burkle is in Grimshackle Jail, I would implore you that we attempt to get him free before Karathor has a chance to gather him up. I think it's essential that we do that. By all means, you could potentially go out and ask, but I don't think you would manage to find anything that my men and Blaine's men haven't managed to already gather. From what we understand, it's this. Karathor hasn't yet decided that he's going to take back Braden. Or for whatever reason, I don't know. This news is relatively new, and all I know is that he's there, and I believe we have a window of opportunity.
When would that be?
When can you be ready?
I stand up.
Dean, wait just a moment. So you said this is a half day's journey
Yes,
north?
it is. I would say you don't want to leave this compound at night. What I would propose tomorrow, maybe the day after, I will have my men take you in a skiff. We have access to the dockyards. They will just round you to the round side of the city, where you can get off and head up the Stoganow Road. The Stoganow Road will take you to Grimshackle Jail. And I think there you may be able to barter for his release. There's a couple of surly halflings that run this establishment, and it's filled with many people that you probably wouldn't want to deal with, and people from both sides, criminals, all. I think if you could go there and you could negotiate his release, you would have a chance. They're unscrupulous individuals, and he's just as likely to die in that place as get out. So you may have a chance. These halflings love nothing more than gold.
What do you believe the odds are that we will face conflict? Do you believe this can end peacefully?
If you're talking about getting him out of the jail, yeah, I would say you probably can. I don't think if you're going to travel in the company of somebody who's against Karathor, I can't see that you won't have some sort of mark on you. But I live with a mark every day. And I'm still here, I guess.
Okay.
I think.
At that point, Claire is just focusing on her meal. She's done. She's got enough information for her.
Dean, if you recall, Runt here has an amazing ability to be in places where she's not supposed to be.
Yes, we can't forget that.
I'll reach out and pat Run up on the shoulder.
She's focused on that gong that she saw him ring, staring at that. She hasn't been paying much attention to the conversation.
Just like, later, it's okay.
If you say these halflings like gold, are you willing to give us something to help us get him out?
He stands up and motions to the manservant, and you can see he's eyeing you, Runt, a little bit. The manservant comes in, leaves briefly, comes back in with a tray. The tray has a leather satchel on it. He looks at the gong, and he goes, I think our business for tonight is concluded. And here is my answer. And he takes the gong and he puts it onto the manservant's tray. He takes off the bag and he throws it in front of you, Rogar. And it lands heavily on the table. He says, I hope this answers your question. If you are curious, it's a large bag of gold.
Yeah, it hits and makes a sound of coins clinking. Okay.
Anybody who would care to note it knows that it's a tidy sum. Say somewhere in the order of 100 gold pieces. We're going to get technical. No small amount.
Will we have to repay it back?
Yes, I would say that could be true. Brayden, if you find him, is good for it. Believe me. And if
Sorry, do you mean Burkle?
Pardon me. Yes, I'm Brayden. Burkle is good for it. Believe me. And if I was in a similar position, I would trust he would do the same. And if I wasn't convinced before, I'm definitely convinced after what I've seen the last month. No, take it. It's for use in this, and if it helps you avenge him if anything's befallen him, I, like the Lady Bright song, will see that money out the door. But now, I'm afraid you must prepare, and I must let you away unless there's any other questions you have. He is a very nervous individual. You can see this guy he's pretty on edge.
Do we think that's kind of just because he has the target on his back?
Yeah, that's the way he's been behaving since
Okay.
you're there. It's not a rude thing. It's not an offensive thing. It's simply somebody who's living with a mark.
Okay.
Why stay here if Karathor is such a man to you?
I have a job like anyone else. This is my home. This is my work. I have promised it to my lords, and I have a duty to keep this chain open. And we do okay. We're not without teeth. Remember that. And my compound is safe. I don't travel without guards. Don't get me wrong. But a man like Karathor is not without his weaknesses, and a man like me is not without his strengths. And you're safe here tonight, if that's what you're asking.
And you may know what those weaknesses are?
Anybody who runs with rats has a chance of getting bitten. You don't live a life like that and not cut corners. And, depending on what gods you believe in, what comes around goes around, no? Easy, boy. You see a
Sorry.
hound lying by the fire. I would say sharpen your weapons, folks. I would say sharpen your wits. I will have the raft ready if you're willing to take it. Again, I ask, are you willing?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Couple days time? Or a day or two's time, you mean?
A day or two's time to get this job done.
Right. Okay.
Lady, I fear that this is not a day or two commitment. You cross a man like Karathor, and you're making an enemy until one of you is dead.
All right. Let's do this then. Geen?
I have one question for you, Geen, if that's your name. Who is this slave to you that looks so much like you?
If she looks so much like me, what do you think?
Sister? Cousin? Mother? No. Too young.
She is my sister.
Well. Then I guess you've got a reason, don't you?
Who wouldn't go out to rescue their sister?
I agree. With that, he stands up. I'm going to bid you farewell and good night. I will have my men ready in the morning if you're willing to take the barge. Or if you prefer, you could stay and rest up one more night. It's still rough here in the hills, on the shores of the Moonsea. Unless you feel you have the strength. So, just as a quick recap, in the road here, all of you have had a chance to rest. For those of you who are counting, you are at full health. Just so we cover that off. Okay.
Okay.
With that, he instructs his servants to see you up to your rooms. The beds are plush and turned down. They've been heated. It's a very comfortable stay, perhaps the most comfortable stay you've had, even more so than the inn in Ashabenfort.
But how is the floor under the bed? Because that's where Runt's sleeping.
Sure. The floor under the bed is planed pine, stout, clean, very clean. You're welcome to stay there if you'd like. There's no skirt or anything around the bed, so you're directly underneath a rope mattress, a rope spring. And Is that where you're staying for the night? Fair enough. The night passes uneventfully. You're awoken early in the morning by Yill's manservant. He comes in. It's still quite dark out, and he says, "My master bids me tell you, your transportation is ready. If you'll take it, I can take you to the docks now." So after a few moments, if you want to grab your possibles and are ready to go out, he takes you down through the kitchens. There are some meager provisions and whatnot packed for you, sack lunches, fruit roll-ups, and the like. And
Lunchables.
yeah, and so you are. He hands these to you, and you can stick them in your pack if you want. There's sort of a selection of things that you can take, and he leads you out the courtyard. You can see now that the compound at its far end is connected to the lake, and there's indeed a dock there. And you can see that there are a couple of oarsmen waiting on a long, double-hulled, almost like two long canoes with a platform in between, and they are patiently waiting for you there. He climbs aboard quickly, points to you, gives them a quick instruction. The one sort of looks at him questioningly, and he kind of gives him a stern talking to, and you can hear him say, "If you want to keep here, if you want to keep working here, Sven, you will or these travelers where I tell you, and the master won't hear me complain about you." And Sven quickly sets to work reading the boat, doesn't even look up at you, and you're free to board the craft.
Oh, I guess when we're on it, I want to just make a note that I'm going to be doing like perception. I'm going to actively be looking to see if anyone's following us.
Sure. You don't see anybody is following you. It appears it's quite early in the morning. The docks are waking up, but people seem to be going about their business. They begin to row away from the docks. You're instructed to stay low and cloaked, and you come out of a boathouse type fortification with a gate. The gate is opened. You're given blankets and whatnot to cover yourself with, and they begin to row towards the center of the lake. And then very quickly they turn left, port, I guess, and they begin to tack along the edge of the wharf, which you see thin. You can go ahead and roll perception for me at this point.
10.
Yeah, it doesn't take you much to see that there are a few people on the docks looking at you, sort of looking up from their work as they're busying themselves, seeing you. You can sort of see their faces light towards you, and briefly take a look and put your head back down.
Okay.
Put their heads back down and work. You then see one rather sleepy-looking gray cloak stick his head up, and he's kind of tucked up like this on one of the wharfs, and he sort of looks like this, a little more interested, and he gets up and he heads off up the dock.
Okay. That's not good.
What's not good?
I relay that the gray cloak spotted us and went off towards the dock, or off the dock route.
The one oarsman hears you say this, and you can see him lean his back into things, and he kicks his compatriot, who was the one that was a little less interested as you board, and they start rowing hard. It only takes about 20 minutes for them to, with these long oars, to pilot this craft out past the edge of the city, and the one man sort of looks at you, and you can tell he's a little bit frightened, and he looks at you, Rogar, and he kind of nods as if, are you ready? Yeah, they row hard, and the front of the boat travels up onto a gravel bank, and they seem very eager for you to get off. They're like, I suggest you go now, and you go fast. And I would say, there is the road. You can see it from here. And he points where there's a crossroads. He says, you take that road north, and you will find what you're looking for.
Thank you.
No sooner are you off the boat that he and his compatriot row. They push that craft back out into the water and begin rowing hard back to the back out into the lake, not obviously going back to the compound, as if they're going to continue their trip.
Were we allowed to keep our blankets, the ones that they gave us to keep us warm and covered up?
Yes, they amount to a blanket with a clasp. They're like a traveling cloak, various colors. Yours is especially huge, and they're just simple woolen blankets. A hasty plan.
I am normally not one for deception, but if we are beset upon by others, it would be good if they didn't know in advance what we had on us.
It is a very good idea.
I'm going to saddle up next to Kane as well and nudge him with my elbow, and from underneath the cloak, I'm going to produce the money. He's your uncle.
Thank you. And I grab the sack of gold. And I stow it in... I don't want to put it on my belt. I'll just hold on to it for now, just in my hand.
Let's go down the road to jail with a bunch of money wide open.
I'm just going to try to store it in, like, I don't know, I guess underneath my shirt. Sure, why not? Just underneath my shirt. Make it look like I have a belly.
You see a curious sight. Small boy riding down the road towards you. He's got 5 horses in tow, and he's riding fairly hard towards you.
Like, what?
I cast scorching ray. I cast scorching ray. Now I'm joking.
Okay, and I'll call you on that next time.
Yes.
You see these horses heading towards you. They're quite a ways down. They're, say, 200 yards down. Are you going to stay on the beach?
No, make it up to the crossroads as quickly as possible.
Sure. Sorry. Okay, so as you make it up to the crossroads, you're soon intercepted by this young boy. You realize that he is the young stable hand that you were dealing with, and he says, "Here are your 2 mounts, and 3 more for you." And one of them is a great big Percheron war horse, obviously intended for you. He says, "My master bids you fair travels and good luck." And he quickly takes his little pony and he reels them around, leaving you all, And then as he's trotting away, he looks over his shoulder and he says, "I wouldn't dally if I were you." And he's racing back.
I just love the image of this guy on a little pony dragging a war horse behind him.
Yeah, no kidding.
A 12-year-old holding a big old war horse.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
right.
Get on my horse.
Yeah, I'll get on my horse.
All right. Rogar, your horse is large and dapple gray. Kane, your horse is a bay. And then and Clara, Runt, and Geen, your horses are all, I would say, spotted, brown and white pinto type.
Why do we get the generic horses? No.
Oh, they're anything but generic.
Anything. My horse is generic.
When you get onto them, you realize that these are actually quite fine animals. They're healthy, they're well looked after, and they're broken. They're quite trained. They don't seem to skitter or fuss at all underneath your guidance. All right, now you're on horseback. You're at a crossroads. You have the Stoganau road ahead of you.
Keeping that ever-rising sun to the east on our right, we'll head up the road.
Good. As you ride, you can see a great gray grass sea off to your left, and well, you're sort of riding through it, and you can see the grass is mowed down by winter, and you can see new life starting to creep up through it. Some of the first winter thistle and patches of green here and there of the hardiest plants that are poking through. The road is well traveled. It's not a trade. Well, it's not a trade route. They're wagon tracks, and it may have been cobbled years ago, but now it's merely a gravel track. And you are able to travel it quite easily.
As we go, I'll pull further back to riding in the rear, and every so often look over my shoulder.
Okay. You don't see anything immediately, or at all for that matter. And after now on horseback, after a few hours travel like this, with Flan fading into the distance and hills beginning to creep around you, and the visage of a large dark forest and mountains up ahead and forest off to your right, and the sea of grass continuing this way, all the way to some distant foothills. You are coming up and down these rises, and as you rise over one, you begin to see this large black visage of a circular keep. If you care to note, it almost looks like a lighthouse or something, but it's very much a heavy black exclamation point on the horizon. And as you continue towards it, you are impressed just how fortified it looks. Do you want to do anything before you are too close to the keep?
So, are there trees or anything, or is it just wide open kind of land? Any like trees for cover, anything like that?
There's not necessarily trees. There's a bit of sage and a few bluffs of willow and these kind of things are on. But as you get closer, you see that it actually is clinging to the side of a rocky bank, and down below you can hear the telltale sound of a river, and this is that Stoganau River for which the road is named. You can see rotten timbers sagging from the tower walls, for although it's impressive, it's also ancient. There is a battlement that's around it of sorts. There's a wall that's around it about 15 feet high. You can see that several of the outbuildings that could have been used at one point are falling inward. These you can see that it looks like it's fairly fortified. There's a large gatehouse that is beginning to come into view, that is right along the edge of the path.
I'm gonna pull my horse back, and I'm gonna pull it up next to Rogar.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm assuming, slowly getting up to the keep.
Yep.
I'm not comfortable going in there without a plan.
So you're able to pull your horses off the road and seek some meager cover in one of these willow bluffs. You're not sure if you were seen or anything along those lines. You didn't see anybody on the battlements specifically. You're in a fairly remote area of the world. But yeah, you're able to get off the track.
Here's my worry. trot over to them. Here's my worry. Braden said that he was trying to get Burkle out of jail, correct? And not able to. What makes him think that we'll be able to get him out of there, even with the money? Like that just, it seems a bit off to me.
You saying that now has me worried. I take the gold out of my shirt, and I'm just gonna weigh if it feels like 100 gold pieces or anything more. Like if it has more weight than a lot of gold pieces. See if it feels heavier than usual.
If you've held 100 gold pieces, which might be a bit of a stretch,
Yeah.
you can roll perception, sure, or investigation. No, it's perception.
Perception. Oh, 12.
As far as you know, it's 100 gold. seems
Never
seems like
specifically-
gold.
Never specifically took it out and counted it.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I will only draw a blade against someone who causes us any kind of harm. If these halflings, be they surly or otherwise, are as money hungry, perhaps this can be just a simple trade. If it was merchant for servant, that may have been something that kept them from ultimately allowing the transaction to take place in the first instance. But now that we have one of kin, an actual blood relative, this could be something different.
Should we all go in together?
Absolutely.
Kane, you have the money. What are you planning on saying to try and get them? What's your plan? We need a plan.
I was thinking that since I don't know, maybe I could say that Waterdeep might need him for specialty, or he's in investigation in Waterdeep, and we'd like to buy his transfer to Waterdeep. You know, I am still technically a part of the spell guard. I could say he's needed in the spell guard as a suspect in a main investigation, but that may just up his price more than 100 gold pieces, or whatever how many gold pieces are on this bag.
Would someone working on behalf of Waterdeep? Yeah.
Waterdeep.
Yeah.
Waterdeep.
Would someone working on behalf of the guard there have an entourage such as ours? Would the halflings even know?
There is adventuring parties in Waterdeep. That's the main hub for them. So
Okay.
I would say that people being assigned to pick up somebody from a prison such as this might be usual business.
Okay.
Well, just as Luna's sister resembles her, how much do you resemble your uncle?
We're not blood per se. He's a really, really good friend with my father since they were kids.
Aha. So, uncle by friendship, not uncle by blood.
No.
This changes things. In this case, then, yes, a story will need to be used. That seems as good as any.
Runt, you want to weigh in here? Or should we distract the guards and have Runt do her thing? Never thought I'd be saying that though.
How big is this place? Is it like super big?
I forgot her voice.
Is it really small? How many rooms is it?
It looks pretty big. I guess that's a stupid idea.
It's a prison, so I'm assuming.
That's a lot of guards, and that's a lot of sneaking.
Yeah, maybe sneaking might not be the option.
Hmm.
Well, if this doesn't work, we can always try other things when it comes upon that case. Or we're going to have to.
We'll have to find out where your uncle is being held. At least.
Yeah.
Do you think they would let us see him?
I highly doubt it.
If I can use a story of Waterdeep needs him as a prime suspect in an investigation, depending on how high I say we need him for, then that may just up the price. If we do see him, that may just up the price.
But what if that doesn't work?
That I'm a bit fuzzy on.
Hold on. Let me check my character sheet.
Maybe Kane and Rogar can take care of whatever needs to be said, while the three of us can stand behind and just look and see if there's any way to get in, if how many guards, any information that we might need if we must enter this place if things don't go well.
Runt, are you able to safely, from like as safe as you can, be able to go and just see if you can see if there are any guards that are visible from our point of view? Do you think? Yeah, and fine, you could steal some stuff if you want.
Just don't get caught.
Yes, otherwise then we'll have to come get you as well as Burkle.
All right, so I'm scouting up ahead around the place to see what's there.
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Well,
so I'm
yeah.
going forward quickly without my horse in front of everyone.
All right. It doesn't take you long to see that there are indeed at least 3 guards on the ramparts, as well as one up in a crow's nest. Are you traveling? Are you trying to be stealthy?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and roll a
Stealth check.
yeah.
Oh, let's see. 11.
Yeah. One of the guards sort of looks
Oh,
at you.
wait. Sorry. 13.
So one of the guards is looking your way into the edge of the bluff where you are there, and he's definitely looking to see if somebody emerges from the bluff. You can see he may not have a bead on you, but he is interested in that bluff, and by your reckoning, they probably know that you're there. Not you, but the party.
Oh. Well, I'm gonna just start picking dandelions on my way back.
Oh yeah, he doesn't make any. He doesn't make any. He doesn't make any obvious motion that he sees you per se, but he definitely sees. He definitely is looking down the road as if he's expecting somebody to emerge from the edge of the bluff.
Okay.
Yeah, we rode in on horses there on a tower.
So I will
We're pretty noticeable.
scurry back with my handful of dandelions
Okay.
and give them to Geen
Aw.
and explain all of that to everyone. We're busted.
All right, then I guess there's nothing to do, but let's just go up. I have been known to make people believe things. I wouldn't say deceitful, but I'd be able to persuade. I have been known for my persuasion, so it might be a good idea if I follow Kane.
Good idea.
Just
All right. Do you want to, if you're going to travel up to the door, do you want to tell me what order you're in? really quickly?
Probably.
Or what your riding formation is, and how do you plan to approach the door?
Well,
I would-
instead of riding, what if we dehorsed and actually just walked them in?
Sure. Okay. So
I
you're
think-
walking. You're
Riding
walking up
can
the track.
sometimes
Yeah.
suggest a little bit of aggression.
Okay. So, what do you plan to do with your horses?
Okay.
Should Kane and I go up just a little bit ahead since
Sure.
it'll make it a little more so we keep the horses with you guys who are kind of behind us,
Right.
Sure.
and then Kane and I will go up, but you're still like within ears. You can still listen.
Do you want to take the horses up with you, or leave them here in the bluff?
I don't know if anyone's following us. Let's take our horses.
Okay. You make your way up the road into the short off road that hits the front of the tower and the gate. There is a stout door there, and it is you can see that there is a small grated cover on it. You can't see immediately from your vantage point anything outside this. You could see the guards as they looked at you, and they were on the ramparts, and they were watching you come up to the door. But then they've sort of been lost overhead, and you don't see anything immediately on top of you. It is a prison, so there's bound to be visitors every once in a while.
Kane, if you'll do the honors.
Yes. So we're at the gates, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to call it. Is anyone here? Oh, there's-
You calling out how loud? Are you stout
Well, I mean, if the-
door?
okay. Is there a handle on the door? Or is it like a full-on portcullis?
Just
No,
knock.
it's a great big. Yeah, this one, it happens to be a great big iron-bound oak door.
Oh, okay.
Down.
Yeah, I'll just knock on it then.
Sure.
I thought it was like a portcullis for a second.
No, that's fine. So you go up to this door, and it's kind of set forward from the wall, and very quickly you hear muffled footsteps drawing closer. They pause on the other side, and then you hear something strange going on in the background, almost like somebody's moving a box. And this little peephole snaps open. What do you want?
Here on business.
Business, eh? What kind of business?
Business that involves a lot of gold.
Gold, eh?
Yes.
I like that. I like that kind of business.
I would like to talk about it more inside.
I don't just open this door up for anybody, buddy. What are you here to do? Are you visiting somebody?
Yes.
Oh, by the looks of you, you're visiting that one that crossed Karathor, huh?
Yes.
That's you? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if I should let you in. What do you want to give me to see this person? I'll give you 15 minutes with them. 15 minutes with that one.
What do you mean that one?
You're here to see that one that crossed Karathor, yeah?
Berkelish, right? Just to make sure we're on the same page.
I don't pay that much attention.
How high is the wall? The door?
The door?
Yeah.
Heavy bound, say, good question. Say it's 10 feet tall.
Okay. I'll detach my coin purse and throw it over the wall.
It's the wall, the door itself is sealed tightly.
Oh, okay.
It's not over.
inside.
It's an actual mounted door within the lintel. There's a large lock,
Gotcha.
the big door, and you can again bound in iron, but it's got this this grate in it about this big with fairly large holes, and he goes,
Gotcha. Okay, sorry.
as soon as he sees you, though, take off your personal purse.
Yes.
He's like, yeah, okay.
I'll hold it up and I'll say 15 gold for 15 minutes.
You've never done this before, have you? Okay, I'll take your 15 gold. You see him suddenly, the top of his head comes down off the thing and the door slaps shut. And then you hear this creaking, and you can hear several bolts being moved back. And he opens up the door just a crack, and he goes, "Now, no funny business, eh?" And he opens up the door, and as you go in, you can see the two tops of the wall, the two edges of the wall, and you're sort of stepping through this small gateway, and it opens up where the wall is almost inside this, and there you see that you've got two of the guards, both with heavy crossbows, just following you. And he goes, "You wouldn't want to piss them off."
So
No, we would not like to.
sorry, I'm just trying to 15 like I guess my currency is like all over the place. Is that a lot? Because he gave us 100. It's a lot.
Are you saying this out loud?
No, this is Kelsey. Sorry.
Yeah,
No, 15 gold is a sizable amount.
Okay.
It's not a small amount. 15 gold for 15 minutes. 15 gold for 15 minutes. 15 gold for 15 minutes. And this portly little halfling is like 15 gold for 15 minutes. 15 gold for 15 minutes. And he's trapping off, and he goes, "Oh man, yeah, Ukram's gonna like you."
Can I do an insight check just to see? Like, this feels too easy for Clara. Something doesn't seem right. So,
well, as you are thinking that, you can hear the stout door is closed behind you, and you see one of the guards close it, bolt it, and then go back up on the wall to mind his business. He's not terribly. The two of them are still trained on you with the crossbows as they're looking, and you can see you're moving through this overgrown garden, and you can see there's another guard at what appears to be an entryway to the keep itself. And you were asking what was your question again?
I just wanted to get like a feel for the guy to see if he was going to screw us over.
Oh yeah, you don't trust this guy at all. But well, I wouldn't say you don't trust him at all. This guy seems motivated by money, and he seems like a jailer. He's not somebody you would take out for pancakes, definitely. But he is leading you, and he's got his back turned to you, and he seems supremely confident that he's got nothing to worry about. You get the sense that this is business for this guy.
Okay.
He trades in people and freedom. So that's his business, right?
Okay.
And he goes, "Oh." So he's leading you through this overgrown courtyard, and then you enter the entryway, essentially the lobby of this thing, and you can see that there are immediately it's kind of an outbuilding attached to this, and there are pillars, and there's a sort of a walkway that as you enter, you can see there's a walkway on both sides where there's arrow slits, and you have a couple of guards that are there walking the walkway. So now this is 5 guards you've seen all together. They seem to be passing you off fairly expertly, although they don't look like the kindest of characters. If they were soldiers at one point, they have traded in that for slightly less prestigious roles. These are pretty gnarly folks. You enter this entryway, and then coming out of a door from one of 2 rooms, there's a door immediately in front of you that's just bound, and there's 2 small doors on each side which look like processing centers or offices of some sort.
Did Rogar hand his gold over to the halfling?
He handled a private sack, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. If at any point it's possible, Runt is going to accidentally bump into this dude and try to take it back.
So he's quite a ways in front of you, and
Okay.
What I would say is even if you're sort of maneuvering to sort of make close the distance with this guy, before you're able, you hear him going, "Ugarim, Ugarim, look and see what I got you." It says they're here to see that one. 15 go for 15 pieces. 15 go for 15 minutes. And suddenly this even uglier, but slightly more well-dressed halfling comes out of one of the offices, and he goes, Bavik, will you shut up your chattering? And Bavik runs up to him and he goes, look, 15 to see that one. These ones are desperate. And he says, keep your mouth shut. He snatches the gold from this guy and he stows it in his belt. He goes, well, what can I do for you five then? I take it you're here to see that one.
Yes, as your compatriot has been saying for the walk down here. 15 gold for 15 minutes.
Very well. Are all of you coming or what?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He
I'm
leads you.
going.
He goes up to the center door and he unlocks it with a heavy key, and he goes, "Well, come on then." And when he opens the door, you see that there is another figure on the other side. And this one, if you thought that anybody could be even uglier than these two, you're suddenly surprised. This dwarf is there, heavily muscled dwarf. And he goes, "What's all this then?"
We're here to
What?
see that one.
Yeah, I bet. All right. Hey, Ukram, where's your fool of a brother? Watch yourself, Jorg. Watch yourself, Jorg. And then these two are sort of spatting. He goes, take these to see that one. And so with that one, Jorg is now, this dwarf is now in charge of you, and the halfling begins to, he leads you up, and the halfling is following behind. Remember, this is the better dressed halfling. And they lead you up this tight spiral staircase. And as you ride up, you ascend various levels and all the way spiraling around this keep, although there's some rough entryways, which kind of denote that you're on, you're going through sort of different sections. It gets ever so slightly smaller, and they take you up, and you're going up the first and the second level, and you can see several of the cells are empty, but many of them have prisoners in them, and they are in pretty sorry state. You know, they're ragged clothes, and it's cold, and it's dark, and it's wet, and coughing and spitting up blood, this kind of thing. And so
Sarah just kind of like scrunches her nose and like, ugh.
There's a lot of moaning going on. As you crest the third time around, you note that there's more empty cells, and you can see that these are sort of tougher characters. And can you just tell me a little bit about your walking order really quickly?
Kane would probably be first.
Okay.
As we're walking,
Kane.
Okay.
Gene's next to Kane.
Okay, Kane Geen.
as we're walking, Clara's kind of like getting further and further away. She wants to be more in the back because something seems off to her. She doesn't know what.
Okay.
So she wants like an eye on everything.
Sure. Rogar, where are you?
I'll bring up the very rear.
And Runt?
Yeah.
Wherever Rogar is.
So, Rogar, as you and Runt are walking, you can hear people starting to, yell for their whatever meager gruel they're going to get that day. You are rounding one corner and you see a couple of prisoners looking at you. It's then that a really, really brown, muscled hand grabs Runt by the shoulder and pulls her towards the bars. And Runt, you are now right up against these bars, and you're staring at the face of this Minotaur, and he's just like, "You could be lunch."
Let her go, bull, or I'll cook you where you stand. And with that, I'll snort 2 little flames.
There. You can take her hot stuff. And he pushes her back towards you. He goes, "Visit me on the way down, pretty." And he rakes his horn rack over the bars.
Kind of like the jailer, the cup.
Yeah. You continue to go up the staircase, and soon enough he goes, "Well," this is Jorg speaking. He goes, "Here's that one." And there is a large bound door and a cloaked figure at the back of the cell.
I'll look down at Jorg and look down the hallway he's brought us. Look down at Jorg and look down the hallway he's brought us. Look down at Jorg. Look down.
What are you worried about? He says, "Nobody gets out of this jail unless I want them to." He says, "Those there are rolled steel doors." And he backs up. He goes, "Have a nice visit." And you can see him move to the back, and he kind of moves past you, Claire, and sort of saddles behind you. And he says, 15 minutes, no more.
Check with Runt real quick. Are you okay?
Yeah, like
on
Clara
the way
felt.
down, let me walk on the inside.
Yeah, and I'm gonna wherever Rogar is, I'm gonna flank, so I'm opposite, so it's like a Runt sandwich.
Sure. So you're gathered around this door, and then you kind of hear a cackling in behind him, and says, "Have fun visiting with that one." And it's Bavek again, the guy who let you in the jail.
Is the door unlocked? Into the cell?
Oh no, the door's locked. The door's locked. There is
So we can't meet it.
there is a barred entryway, but you can see it, and it's steel door, stout lock.
Kane's gonna say, "So you're that one." Just gonna wait for a reaction from the. Well, I'm hoping is Berkelish in the cell.
You see a cloaked figure at the back, and it kind of turns, but again it's cloaked, so it's turning sort of away from the corner as you speak. It's there. Then you hear a voice emanate from the figure. Are you Karathor's thugs to come kill me? And it's a female voice, not a particularly feminine female voice.
Knew it.
Did you come to the window in this door?
The hood is removed, and this woman stands up, and she is bigger than most women than you've ever seen. And when she turns, you understand why. This is a half-orc standing in front of you, and she comes to the door and says, "So, you some of Karathor's thugs? Well, do what you're gonna do.
Why are you called
I'm
that
sick
one?
I'm sick of waiting."
Why do they call you that one? We thought you were someone else.
I don't know.
Kane's
Well-
gonna curse to himself. Shit.
Can you get on with it? What are you here to do?
What is your
Poison.
name?
Here for information.
Yeah, what is your name? I think
is
we
it?
have a mistake. What did she say? I'm sorry.
You're here to see me, huh?
Well, we were here to see someone. We didn't expect you.
Raythene Fell. Raythene Fell. That's me. What's your name, stranger?
Rogar. Paladin of
Carol.
Helm.
Kane
Helm.
And so you can see that I am not here to take your life.
Helm. We see your kind through here every once in a while. I could tell you stories about your kind if you care to get me out of here.
How did you end up here?
She seems to have you pegged. She understands now that she's not gonna die, and so she begins to relax. I was taken by those pigs. Those pigs who used to call themselves my brothers, my colleagues. They tossed me in here as easily as they tossed in that other waste.
Who did you used to work with?
Ah, you're asking a lot of questions for somebody who wants to see me on the end of a rope.
We don't want to see you on the end of a
You
rope.
don't want to get me out of here, which means you want to see me on the end of a rope. How many days do you think I got left, pal?
Can Runt pull out a lockpick and just like motion?
Sure.
As
You
she
do
does
this.
that, I'm gonna like shift
So-
my body so I'm like in the way.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
you're able to position yourself where it's pretty sure that the prisoner can't tell that you're there. And if you want to try, you can try.
I'm just like waiting for someone to tell me whether or not they want me to.
So
It's insane.
here's Runt looking up at Rogar with these thieves'
Right.
tools, going,
Huh?
I'll give her
Huh?
a very curt nod and still continue to talk to the half-orc, trying to keep her attention.
"Sure."
All right.
gonna
We do not desire to see you dead, and we're very confused as to why you're not the person we're seeking.
Who are you seeking?
Brooklyish Domir.
Immediately hearing that name, she looks over your shoulder towards Kane, and she goes, "Yeah, I know him. I know him. He's part of the reason I'm in here. You want Berkelish, you get me out of here, and you get me out of here now."
What did he do?
I don't know what he did. At least I'm not going to tell you any more till you get me out of here now. Don't you understand, lady? I'm going to die in here. And every
What
minute
makes
I
you
stay in here, we are one step away from Karathur, and I don't want to be on the receiving end of that particular rope.
Insight check if she knows Berkelish. Just to make sure. Natural 20.
Ah!
Oh, wow.
You don't feel like she's deceiving you at all. Okay.
Awesome. I'm gonna. Oh, sorry, go on.
I'm gonna take a look behind me and see if any of our lovely guests have noticed. So is that a perception?
You can see that the halfling that let you in is picking his teeth and leaning up against one of the solid walls. And he's kind of enjoying this fact, and he's like, "Was it worth your 15?" He obviously doesn't see that Runt is doing her magic. What you also notice is that Iorg is not there, gone.
Where did the other one go?
Who? Broken Jaw? Eh, who cares? Guy stinks.
Is the dwarf Yorgarok Broken Jaw?
Are you engaging from in front of the door?
No, never mind. Sorry.
No, it's okay. He goes, he's got his teeth back in his thing. He goes, yeah. 5 minutes. Unless you got another 15 gold.
I'm just looking at what I have here.
Okay, Runt, I want to know, are you attempting to pick this lock?
Yes.
All right. Are you trying to do it silently?
Ooh, yes.
Sure. We'll take that as part of your roll. So,
Okay.
Can you give me a dexterity check, please?
Okay. 20.
Nat 20?
The moment your picks slide silently in, for a moment, Rogar and Kane, you see the prisoner's eyes look down at the mid-sentence. She looks down at the lockpick and she goes, "It's been nice visiting with you," and she gets this little smile that crosses her face, and then she kind of gives you a nod, and clink, you feel the bale set back. Runt. Anybody?
How are we gonna get out of here? That's what I'm thinking.
She's not making
2 minutes. 2
She's
minutes. Unless you guys
she's
got
not-
another 15. 15 go for 15 minutes. 15 go for 15 minutes.
She's not making an attempt to go to the door. She just notices that it's open.
Hmm.
Then I go up to Rogar and I just whisper, let's get out of here.
We need her.
She can get out by herself. I'm not going to risk all of us in here if she can get out by herself.
Listen, sweetie. And she looks right at Eugene. And she says, "You need me as much as I need you. You want to find Burkle. You better make sure I'm safe."
I'll turn and look at her and say, "How handy are you with a mace?"
"I can handle it as well as I can handle anything else, big boy." And she looks you up and down.
Quickly whisper to Brogar and half-orc lady, which I didn't get her name. What was her name?
Racine, I think.
Racine.
Raythene. Cool. And I'm gonna say to Brogar, we have 100 gold to release her. Well, try to. If that doesn't work, then this is plan B. How about that?
Exactly.
All right.
I'm
gonna do it.
The door is already unlocked.
If it can be unlocked, it can be locked.
Yes, but you have to. Oh, okay. So
I'm
5
gonna.
5 gold for 5 more minutes, and I pull out my own gold. But yeah, I'm going to the little 15 go for 15 minutes. Go. And hold on, I just want to see something.
He's about to take your gold, and then you can hear him sort of get distracted, and he turns around, and you hear that there is screams emanating from downstairs.
Sounds like you've got a problem.
Screams of terror.
Terror.
And you hear the word "fire, fire," and you can smell and hear smoke, see smoke billowing up the top of the spiral staircase. And things are getting pretty heated downstairs.
Is there a window where we are?
There's no windows that you can see, and suddenly Burkle goes, "Oh!" and he runs, and he not Burkle, pardon me, the halfling, 15 gold, starts running. Bavek starts running downstairs.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'll reach out and grab the door and pull it open.
Okay, it swings open easily, and she goes like, "This is getting exciting, huh?"
We don't have time for talk.
She
Here,
looks at your sword and she goes, "Spare one of those."
I'll hand her the mace.
She takes the mace. "Let's go," and she begins to come downstairs.
Just to try and, I don't know, off chance conceal, I'm just going to take off the towel / drape that I had and try to give it to the half-orc, try to conceal herself, just to see if we can just get past that way.
One more time, can you repeat that? I just got to turn down my sound here.
Yeah, no problem. I'm gonna take off my towel cloak or blanket cloak. I'm gonna give it to the half-orc, just to see if that'll help in concealing her, so we don't have to try to fight.
Yeah, you can throw that over her, but pandemonium is ensuing at this point, and you can see that there's hands reaching out as you start to make your way down, and the smoke is getting thicker and thicker and thicker.
So do we run, or do we let these other people escape? Our main thing is getting out of here alive with Raytheon. So, from where we are, can we see the fire at all?
You can't see the fire just yet, but you can begin to see the glow of a fire. And as you circle the next round, you can see that one of the haystacks that was there, that was filled with, that was obviously hay for the prisoners and bedding, is still burning. And Rogar and Runt, I would like you both to roll perception.
Ooh.
14.
17.
Yeah, so you can see that the door that previously held the Minotaur is swung wide open. The heat is beginning to get to you, and it's thick. Screams everywhere. The prisoners are going absolutely ballistic.
I'm looking for a window that could possibly be broken. From where?
Nope. On the way up here, you notice that this was a solid structure. There are no windows that people can see out of. This is a solid keep. You're up high enough that if there are guard positions, they're hidden behind other doors. You are in a hallway, and other than the odd sort of stable and staging area, you see no windows.
So,
Okay, I'm sorry.
no,
Excuse
go
me.
ahead.
I'll say to the party, turning back, cover your noses and mouths. I'm accustomed to fire.
Yeah. I also have, just a heads up, I have control flames. So,
Okay.
I have scorching ray.
Right. Are you going to use either one of those?
I want to wait because I have to see the fire.
Sure. So it doesn't take you long to see it. Pretty soon you round the next corner, and another haystack is burning. You can make it all the way down to the main level if you want. There are flames. There are prisoners shaking at the bars, trying to get free desperately as timbers begin to light, and they're trying to get out.
So, obviously, I'm not gonna we're not gonna stop. I don't think to save them. But on our way, do we see any jail keys that we can toss the prisoners at all?
You can see that a couple of the cells simply have large bolts that are closing them with a simple iron ring around them.
Oh, so we can open them manually, kind of thing?
Yeah, they're sort of in the lower reaches that don't seem to be.
All right. As I'm running, if I run by them, I'm gonna open up the ones that I can.
Sure.
But hopefully, if they escape, then the guards will be more focused on them.
Can you just quickly roll a strength check for me?
Oh god. That is a 14.
Sure. You managed to slide open 2 of 3 of the jail cells, at which point the prisoners immediately come outside and they bolt past you, hell bent for leather. They are running in the opposite direction of the smoke and the flames. You are making it now down to the main level, and you are back in the base of the stairs, the waiting room, and you can see that some of the prisoners have opened up other cells, and there's sort of a steady stream of prisoners beginning to make for the inner door of the stairwell.
Okay.
What do you do?
As soon as we get to the bottom, I'll say, Clara, can you do anything about this?
Is there anywhere where the flames are like, I guess, blocking an exit or something like that, or blocking people from getting out?
You can see, no, they're not blocking this door, but you can see now that the upper reaches are becoming engulfed in flame, and the timber floor is beginning to go up, and you can see that the wooden spiraling staircase that's followed the inside is beginning to sweat, and sparks and whatnot are falling down, and then you begin to hear a real ruckus taking place up top as again people are being burned alive, and the tower begins to feel as though it's going to begin to maybe not collapse in on itself, but wood is beginning to fall down, and you are obviously in the middle of a chimney at this point.
Would I be within 60 feet of the people that are trying to get down, and there's like fire and everything?
No, you're literally right in front of them, and I'll say that as two of them push their way past you, bedraggled like prisoners, they're able to make it outside of the door, and if you had any worry that they'd be cut down or something, you can see they didn't drop in front of you, and they head out through the billowing smoke that's also traveling out the main entryway where the offices are.
Okay.
And you guys are currently held up, and at that point Fell turns to you and goes, "What are we waiting for?"
Because I was asking, because I can extinguish anything
Flames?
like I can extinguish in like a 5-foot cube.
Sure.
So.
The fire is starting to rage above you, and you can feel it. You can feel the heat beginning to emanate from it. You could potentially extinguish some of the materials that are beginning to catch fire, but you're not sure how much good it would do you stuck inside the chimney, as it were.
Right. I will yell at the other guys, being like, get out now, and then I'll be the last one out if you guys are going to run. And then as I'm running out last, I'm going to extinguish the flames in like the most hard hit spots. Sure.
So you're able to extinguish anything around you, and all of you are able to get out this main door. At that point, you see that there, as you get into the courtyard, there are what appear to be 7 of these thug-like guards in a semicircle, pointed at the door of which you're just coming out of. All with, let's say 5 of them have heavy crossbows, but they're not trained on you. The crossbows are trained on a minotaur who has the captain of one of the Grimshackle brothers, Ukrim, the one that you met second, and he is holding him by the head, and he's kind of swinging him around, going, "Go ahead and try it. I'm getting out of here." And he's holding this squirming halfling. And then when you look a little farther down, you can see that Bevik is standing in front of Eorg. And they're both kind of looking on, and the guards all have them like this. And the guards don't seem to be paying a heck of a lot of attention to the other prisoners that are bolting. But when they see the 5 of you emerge, they start to sort of they're a little bit worried about who the target should be. Their most immediate concern, though, is the one that's got their boss by the neck.
Are our horses still there?
And your horses are, where you'd left them tied up was outside of the entryway. So you are just to be clear here, you've come out of the lower hall of this jail. You're now inside the inner wall, and inside the inner wall, it's like a courtyard, an overgrown courtyard. This scene is unfolding, and there in front of you, down the pathway, is the door that leads you outside of this keep, outside of the ramparts.
The door's not being blocked by anything?
The door is being blocked by a door, and you can see that the prisoners are starting to get up to this door, and they're kind of trying to jimmy it open. And a couple of them, very desperately, the lighter ones, are heading up onto the ramparts and letting themselves over the edge. And when you see one of them attempt to go over the edge, he just sort of throws himself off. And now behind you, you're hearing more screams, and the screams are beginning to quiet, and a couple of scorched people are coming out that have managed to shake themselves loose. So you're in the middle of all of this, and Ukram says, "What do you want? Just put me down." And one of the larger guards says, "Put him down, bull. Put him down, or we're gonna nail you."
I say it's their battle. It has nothing to do with us. We go.
Put him down, Wall Hollow. I don't care. I don't care how big you are out there. Just put me down, and you'll be safe. I promise you. And at that point, the Minotaur goes, "Shut up, runt!" And he swings a little bit too hard, and all of a sudden, the halfling goes lifeless like a rag doll. You're not sure if he's unconscious or if he's had his neck snapped. This enrages two of the guards, who immediately let loose. And one of the bolts misses. Both of the bolts miss this Minotaur, and he turns and he goes, "Raylene, you're gonna pay for this." And he sees her with you. Okay, at this point, I'd like everybody to roll for initiative.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not getting out of this.
I have an idea.
Sure.
It may work.
Okay.
Oh, but it'll happen very later. 3 on initiative. 3 total.
I have 8.
Okay, that's Kelsey. Or sorry, Clara.
18.
18. Geen.
14.
14. Runt.
16.
16. Rogar. And 8 for Clara. And Kane with 3. Give me one moment. All right. The Minotaur has first action, and he immediately tosses the body as a weapon against a sword-wielding jailer, and begins to rampage towards him, knocking that jailer off his feet and squashing him. He's not your immediate concern. With this, you see 2 of the guards turn towards him with their crossbows. They let loose 2 more bolts, and they immediately arm themselves with short swords. When two other guards notice that you're with Raylene Fell, they turn towards you. At this point, the younger of the 2 halflings shouts out, "Yeah, that's right. You kill that one." And he motions to the ones that are chasing the Minotaur. "And you 2, you finish off these ones." And they're sort of looking around like this. and he grabs a little dagger out of his thing, and he immediately charges after the Minotaur, and is kind of bouncing around, looking if he's got a chance to stick this guy. What do you do here with your actions? We'll start with Geen.
So the two ones that he told them to deal with us, do they look like they're about to deal with us?
Yep.
Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and how far are they from us?
10 feet.
10 feet. Oh, okay. Then oh snap, that's too close for that. I'll go ahead and pull out my longsword, go up to one of them, and take a whack.
Sure.
And that's 16 to hit.
Okay. And damage?
And damage is going to be 9.
All right. He takes the hit, doesn't like it, and backs off.
And for my bonus action, I'll go ahead and I'll take an unarmed strike. I'll just go ahead and see if he's still in range, I'll just go ahead and see if I can kind of punch him or knock him or elbow him.
All right.
That
Go ahead.
is 4. Okay. Oh, that's not great. That's 10 to hit.
So he blocks that one with a forearm. Okay, you are engaged with that one. There's another one in front of you. Group. Rogar, you're the next to act.
The body, how close is it to where we're standing? The one that he ultimately just tossed aside.
It's off to your, in this courtyard, the semicircular courtyard. This is all going off on the left. The body was tossed at one of the guards that it's since gotten up now, and there is the other guard which was knocked aside by the Minotaur, and there are two other guards now that are three other guards that are now chasing that Minotaur, if that makes sense. Right. There's two guards on you, so 7 all day. And the dwarf is standing there. Now you can see that he's brandishing a club of sorts, a metal club.
And he's brandishing the club with threatening intent toward us.
His attention seems to be focused on the Minotaur.
Okay.
And this is what you notice at this point when you're in the middle of melee.
Okay. Well, then I will assist Geen in her endeavors and attack the exact same one with Sacred Weapon.
Sure. Go ahead, please.
So the sword held aloft with our powers combined, Captain Planet. It begins to glow, and let's see, a 14.
Sure. This definitely bloodies him. He's still standing, but
that was a 14 to hit.
Oh, pardon me. Yes,
yeah.
You hit.
Okay. That's 5 damage slashing.
Sure. Still, he is over the threshold where you would say he was bloodied. He is going to. He's fully engaged with you two at this point. However, in the process, he manages to, I would say, after the first attack, let loose his bolt and draw his sword. So he is armed now and has fired for the next round. We'll talk about where he hits in a moment, which is nowhere. It's in his haste, and he manages to skitter off. That being said, there is another one. Run! You have initiative at this point ahead of these two guards. So go ahead.
I will try and sneak attack the one that's engaged with Rogar and Clara.
Okay.
Geen.
Geen, not Clara.
Oh yeah, Geen. Sorry.
Okay, so 3 to 1.
So that is a miss with 12, I'm guessing.
No, you hit.
Oh wow, cool.
Yep.
All right, so that is the first attack, and that is 5 damage plus the sneak attack, which is 8, so 13 total.
Mhm.
And then the second attack with the other dagger is a 24.
Yep.
That is 6 damage.
Just enough. Whereas the two of you, as you're facing this surly guard, he suddenly falls to his knees, and here is this blonde-haired little girl standing behind him, extracting her daggers from his kidneys or wherever they're coming out of. And so you drop him, Rund. The other guard now has his action after his fellow had missed. I will say that Clara, he's turned his attention to you. He's going to go ahead and fire off that bolt, and it will indeed hit you.
Oh God.
Mhm.
Am I too close to use my reaction to try and catch that?
I'll say that no, you're not close enough for that. Because you would have been. This is all happening at the same time. You're in melee with the other person. Okay, that crossbow is on you.
Is Clara within 5 feet of where I was standing?
Again, you were engaged.
Yeah, just making sure.
Yeah, but
Now that he's dropped.
I would say that no, she's outside of 5 feet. You've kind of spread out. If there are 2 fights going on, it would be yours and hers, and these 2 guards were 8 or 10 feet apart. Clara, you just took 6 points of damage.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh no.
But you are also now next to Act as he ditches his crossbow and goes for his short sword.
What's he wearing?
Pardon me, a mace. He's wearing simple armor, leather armor.
All right. She's pissed, so she's gonna fire mage hands right at him, full blast.
Okay.
It's gonna be, or sorry, not mage hands, burning hands. That's what I want to do. Do I have to roll? What do I have to roll for that? Sorry.
So that's not a save on his part, is it? This is.
Oh yeah, it is. You have to beat a 14 dex save.
Okay, so yeah, he manages to. So he beats that. So just remind me, that's half damage, yeah, for that.
Yes.
Or
Yes. Half
Okay.
damage.
So
So
he
let me
manages
roll
to-
it.
he manages to slip the grasp of your mage hands. If that's what
Okay.
he's doing.
That's 5, 9. All right, so 5 damage.
Okay. He shrugs that one off and continues
Fire.
his advance.
Yeah, so it's 5 fire damage. Sorry.
Okay. And so he is on fire. Does he take damage every round? Remind me.
No, I think it's just 5 fire.
Okay.
From what I can tell.
All right.
Sorry, I'm not usually a magicy person.
Sure,
so
we're getting used to it. We're all finding our feet here, including me. So, Kane, you're the next one with the two casters. Oh, pardon me. Before he advances, we have Wraithine Fell begins to move on him with the mace. Is there anything special about that mace, Rogar?
No. It's just
No,
a
and it's
regular mace. And
one-
it's 1d6.
Yeah, and so she goes ahead and she scores a hit, and she puts a dent in him for sure. And then Kane, you are now. She stepped in between the two of you and Kelsey, and so Kane, you've got the ability to act now.
Cool. I am going. How far away from the? How far away am I from the main door?
You are roughly. You're about 40 feet.
Perfect. I'm gonna. And people are trying to get through the door or trying to unstuck it or anything like that. Or is there any-
Yeah, they're at this point. Oh, that's a good question. They are still trying to get out that door. There's a couple of little spindly people that aren't doing
So
much.
it's not open, right?
No, they're looking for other escape. They're scrambling.
All right, just real quickly, I'm going to look to the door. I'm going to say Valoon, and I'm going to cast Knock on that door.
Okay. Can you describe the effect?
Knock, I choose an object that I can see within range. An object can be a door, box, a chest, a set of manacles, a padlock, or any other object that contains a mundane or magical means that prevents access. So if it's barred, it becomes unbarred, and if it's locked, it becomes unlocked. But if it's a magical lock, like with a spell like Arcane Lock, it's suppressed for 10 minutes.
Sure. The door swings open, we'll say.
Cool. And I'm gonna hold my quarterstaff, and that's my turn.
Okay, great. We are top of the order. You can see that the melee over to your left is still going on. The Minotaur is now fully engaged with the two guards that are up, and I just want everybody to roll. Well, actually, let me have Geen and Rogar go ahead and make a quick perception check for me, if you don't mind, given that you're facing in the right direction.
12.
All right, Geen, you're muted.
10.
Rogar, you can see that what you hear actually is you hear this wall harrow, as they called the Minotaur, go, "What are you waiting for?" And he's screaming, and you can tell that he's looking at the dwarf. At which point the dwarf runs over and begins to attack one of the guards and just cold cocks them across the back of the head. Okay.
The dwarf attacks one of the guards.
The dwarf attacks one of the guards. Okay, this is Iorg Broken Jaw, and he's running behind and he's cold cocked one of these dwarves, and then you kind of see the other halfling, Bavek, look up at him and go, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" Like this.
In cahoots. Okay.
Very quickly, you realize that this is going to turn the tide of the fight against this Minotaur. Now that he's only facing two guard, and remember, we still have two that are laid prone. The one guy's not in any big hurry to get up. In fact, the guard that was knocked by the Minotaur is making for the door at this point. The other one that was thrown under the body has rose, and he is advancing on the Minotaur. Okay? And we're at the top of the order here, so Geen, you're able to act next.
Then I am going to just do the same thing, but to that other guard that went after Clara.
Okay, go ahead.
Yay, Kate.
So you begin to round on him from your right, as you are going to engage him with Wraithing Fell.
That's 17 to hit.
All right, you hit easily.
And that's 10 damage.
Okay.
And,
Further bloodied, not dropped.
Same thing. I'll just go for another punch or whatever I can muster at him.
Sure.
That is going to be a 12 to hit.
Your blade finds its mark, and then your fist quickly follows to knock this guy's jaw. You can see that Raythene Fell looks up from the battle long enough to sort of nod her approval and make a half-orcish snarl. He is still standing, but definitely hurting.
That was 6 damage.
Yep.
Okay. And
Thank you.
that's
Sorry
all I
about
got.
that. All right, good. Rogar.
I am going to leave the site here and go and intercept the dwarf and the minotaur.
You are heading up behind the dwarf at this point. You can close the distance. You've got movement to spare.
Okay.
The
All right.
dwarf is 10 to 12 feet away from the minotaur at this point. You will hit him first.
When I get up behind him, I will shout out at him, "Liar! Cheat!"
He sort of snarls and turns on you.
Okay. When he does, I will ensure that we cross blade with club.
Sure.
And that is a 24 to hit.
You hit easily. And go ahead and roll damage. So you bring your weapon down on his turning form.
Yeah, for 4.
Okay. He will take that, and despite his chain shirt and what he has on, he is definitely not loving that. He quickly casts, as you knock him down, he goes to the body of the man. He just cold cocked and sort of deftly grabs rises up for his strike with the short sword and takes a swing in on you right away. What's your? I don't have
18.
yours. 18. Yeah. So he manages to get a strike on you, but it just glances off your armor. Okay. Thanks for that. Runt, you're next in, and you see your big daddy engaged with this dwarf.
She sighs and rolls her eyes, and then charges after him to attack this dwarf.
Sure. Before you do, you can see that the dagger of the little halfling comes in for a strike, and doesn't find its mark. Hits the chain shirt that this dwarf is making, and then he looks up at you, Rogar, and he goes, "Kill this guy! Kill this guy, and you can have your 15 gold back. He killed my brother. This murderous trait!" And he stabs again at him, and then he sort of backs off. All right, Runt, you close the distance, and you are where now?
Behind him if I can be.
I'm trying to remember what the rules are for actually getting in behind somebody when you're moving across distance.
I mean, I guess I don't have to be behind him as long
I think
as
if
he's
it's
as long as he's in combat with Rogar, I have an advantage. So
sure, yeah. So you're
Okay.
fighting underneath Rogar's elbows if you want.
yeah, I like that. Okay, so that is 15 on the first one for 8, and with the sneak attack 9 and 9 points of damage, and the second attack is a 12 to hit.
Sure, and 15 and 4 were your attack rolls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So as much as you're trying to poke at this guy, whatever chain he's wearing is stopping your stabbing motions, and I'll say he notices it, but he's more concerned about the immediate threat in front of him,
Gotcha.
being this large dragonborn. Clara, you're next up. You are still standing in front of the second guard.
Yeah. He looks bloodied. You said, right?
Yep.
All right. Is he right in front of me, or where is he?
No, he is between. Remember that Raythene Fell is between you and he.
Right. Okay.
You have
And-
clear shot at the Minotaur off to your left.
Okay.
You have an obstructed shot if you don't move, with two of your comrades, Geen and the recently released Raythene, engaged with this person in front of you.
Okay.
Everybody clear on the layout here?
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Then what I'll do is I'm gonna cast. Sorry, Rogar. Rogar and Rent? Are you close to the Minotaur as well?
They're about 10 feet. There's about 10 feet distance between them and the Minotaur, who's engaged with now two of the guards.
All right, I'm gonna cast Hold Person on the Minotaur.
Okay.
That's a Wisdom 14 save throw.
And he saves. So
Damn it!
he shirks that off and snarls, and you can see a brief flame-light look at you, and he goes, "Stay out of this, witch." And then he lowers his head and gores one of these guards and just shakes him off and throws him into the wall with a loud splat, right? As the guard crumples to the floor, and the other guard doesn't look like, the one that got up doesn't think this is such a good decision anymore.
Hold on. Sorry. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Can I use a bonus action? Can I convert a sorcery point to... Oh, I guess I can't. I can't do another spell, though, with that. Never mind.
Okay, so then we're down to the Fell takes one last swipe at this guard and misses horribly. Kane, you're up. So
Okay.
she swings, but a little too exuberantly with this small mace that she's apparently not as handy with as she claimed.
So I see the Minotaur and I see the bloodied guard. And I'm
Yes.
going to cast Magic Missile, 2 darts at the Minotaur, 1 dart at the guard.
Okay. Pew, pew, pew,
Sure.
pew.
Yep, so I'm going to roll the Minotaur's damage first, and
Go
that is 4 plus 2, 6 damage to the Minotaur and 2 damage to the guard.
All right. The Minotaur shakes it off. The guard does not appreciate it as it strikes him in the shoulder, and he's kind of looks like this, but his attention is back on the Minotaur.
How
Okay.
rude.
And I'm going to move. No, I'll just stay where I am. I'll just stay where I am right now.
Okay, you are the closest to the door. Just so everybody knows where we are, you're the closest to the door to the prison. To your right, if you think about Kane, he's now sort of center of the action. We've got Rogar and Runt engaged to his left. We have Raylene Fell and Clara and Geen engaged to his right. Okay, so and they are both, if you think like they're on third and first, right, and straight up towards second is the door to the prison, which is now swung open.
What's on second?
Roll perception for me really quickly, Kane, since you're there with your vantage point is clear and unobstructed.
Come on, Diamond Dust. That was really good. 19.
Yeah, you see one of your horses with a small rider on it heading down the road.
I want to say, hey, no! Oh.
All right. We're back top of the order. The Minotaur has a chance to act now. He absolutely skewers the guy that you just fired a magic missile at, who was suitably distracted. And his goring attack does a whopping amount of damage. And this gentleman, who was already knocked down, is now squirming on the top of this horn, not quite dead, but up off his feet, as this is his second gored attack. And I will say, he begins to grab both the guard's legs and pull him down, tearing the horn up deeper into the rib cage.
Ooh.
Right.
Oh,
Okay, Geen, you still have a standing man in front of you.
Yeah. So I'm going to burn a key point to do flurry of blows at him first. So that's 2 unarmed strikes at him.
Okay.
So the first one is going to be 22 to hit.
Hit.
And that's 5 damage. The second one is going to be 21 to hit and 6 damage.
Yeah, he's just flattened. This guy looks like a bag of month-old onions that has been crushed underneath your flurry of blows.
Okay.
And he quickly sort of lifelessly slumps to his knees and doesn't even fall over, just sort of collapses there like a broken sack.
Okay.
Um,
Then for my action, I'm going to does it cost me anything to sheath my sword and pull out my longbow?
it would cost you. It's an action to I kind of let you have the. Believe you have to stow your weapon to do that. I'm going to say that you've already had your action for this round. Doing that, so you can do that in preparation for the next round. But unless there's any objections to that, I think we're all right.
I mean, like for flurry of blows, it doesn't necessarily have to be a punch. It could be like
that's
a
right, it
one
can be
punch and a
kicked.
kick. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Pardon me.
Yeah.
I'm thinking too literally. So go ahead. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll say that you can ready your bow for the next round.
Okay. Then yeah, so I'll take. So the flurry of blows was just a punch and a roundhouse kick to the guy's head.
Yes.
And then I'm just gonna sheath my long sword and pull out my longbow and just get it ready for, I guess, the Minotaur.
Okay. Any movement?
No, I'll stay where I am.
All right. You are facing the jailer still, Rogar, with this little blonde viper down at your one elbow and this picking halfling at your other one, yelling, 15 gold, kill him.
Right. And it's the dwarf who is helping the Minotaur, the same one.
That's right. He's up against you.
Yeah, I will attack him again.
All right. Not prepared. Go ahead, please.
With an 8.
Yeah, so he's able to deflect and jump out of the way.
Actually, I'll use my inspiration.
Please
do.
Ooh.
Okay.
And that is a little bit better. That is a 13.
Despite the inspiration, he's still belying the they may be wasted on long distances, but they're incredibly nimble right in front of you. So he's hopped one way and then the other, and he's able to dodge your blows. Runt, though, you are at Rogar's elbow.
Man, I'm gonna stab this guy.
So he thinks he's pretty slick. He's actually pretty impressed with himself as he dodges these 2 blows.
All right, so 24 on the first attack.
It's a hit.
And dodge that.
Okay, for 8 plus 6 plus 4.
You find that hole you're looking for, and I won't make you roll anymore because as he's bouncing around and you might be annoyed, Rogar, as you're looking down at this stocky thing that shouldn't be getting around your blows. You see a little hand stick out and just catch this guy. You can call it Runt if you want. Where did you get him?
Probably under his stupid chin.
Okay.
I didn't like his face.
Yeah. So still smiling, he looks up at you, Rogar, as he breathes his last breath and and takes a nice deep swallow on the red liquid filling his mouth.
Ugh.
And you can't bear his weight, Runt, so as he slumps, you're forced to withdraw.
Oh no.
Right.
Okay, so score 2 for Runt. All right. The Minotaur has now dispatched this other guard as you see him haul down on the legs of this person, and the horn tears up first through the sternum and then is eventually free of the clavicle and rips out, and this lifeless body of the other guard hits the ground, and he turns his eyes right towards you, Rogar. Doesn't advance immediately. Okay, Clara, it's you.
All right. I take out my crossbow because it was kind of on my back.
Okay.
And I like crossbow, and I am gonna aim for his stupid face.
All right. Light crossbow?
Yeah, light crossbow. That is a 17.
Yep. You hit.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Right, so that's 1d. Oh, really? That's 3 damage.
He snarls, looks past you briefly, Rogar, and then
I
looks he looks at you. Yeah, he looks right at Clara and he goes, "Witch." And then you can see him start to sort of stamp, and then he's sort of eyeing you, Rogar, and then he looks to the door, and then he looks back at you, Rogar, and then he looks back at Clara. Okay. At this point, Raylene fell, stepping back from the mess that is this shattered bag of onions, looks up, and you can hear her go, "Oh, Jesus," like this. And she sort of steps over the body, and then she immediately makes for the door.
Did it,
Kane, you're next.
bitch?
I see her bolting for the door.
Yeah.
Minotaur Raylan. Minotaur
Yeah.
Raylan. Okay. I'm assuming that the Minotaur is within 120 feet, so I'm going to quickly cast Scorching Ray at 2nd level at the Minotaur.
Ooh.
Just to
Spicy.
get
Okay.
that off.
All right. So you
Hot
are
damn.
actually, but you are actually between him and you're sort of off to the side of Clara, and in between him and Runt and Rogar. You let loose this bolt that flies over the head of the little halfling. Okay.
So I cast it, and that's 3 rays, and the first one is 13 to hit. Does that hit?
Yes. Sorry, no.
No. Okay. Oh. Wait.
Math
14?
is hard.
Yeah, math is hard. 14.
And your last one?
Okay, and the last one, 21.
Yeah. So,
So-
the last two hit.
So that's 4d6. Oh, 17, 19 fire damage.
Oh!
All right.
That stings.
2 6s.
Okay. He is not loving life. In fact, you would say he is definitely bloodied and seared.
And
now
and-
you can just see he's like, and he's mad at all this.
just kind of as a bonus action, I look at Rayleigh and I say, "We'll meet you out there." That's it.
Okay. So she's already beaten cheeks for the door. Okay.
Fucking leave us.
Yeah. All right. We are now at the top of the order. Geen, you have action.
I thought the Minotaur went before me.
The Minotaur tore this guy in half. I was going to say that was his action.
Oh, okay.
Is that right? Did I miss a turn? All right. Okay. We will say that the Minotaur immediately looks down at the dude who just fired the scorching ray and figures he might try to angle for 2. He runs as hellbent for leather for Kane, and he'll be moving about 4 feet, 4 to 5 feet off to your left, Rogar. Okay.
Okay.
He is able to.
If he's that close, does he pass within a threatened area?
I would say that this is all happening at the same time as you're dealing with the final
Dwarf.
dispatches of the dwarf,
Okay.
and so it's just sort of as you're seeing him drop, his barrel of fury is heading past you. Just give me 1 second. He is very close to the halfling who manages to dodge between his legs as he's going through towards Kane. Kane, I just want you to make at this point. Actually, sorry, Kane, I need your AC.
I forgot to do mage armor. It's 11.
Oh.
Oh no.
Hey, I forgot to do that too.
Yeah.
Twinsies.
I guess I learned my lesson from the ghosts, but also learned a new lesson to always do it.
Well,
Wait, and are we side by side?
In his no, you're a fair distance apart.
Okay.
But Kane, you are able to dodge this just by the skin of your teeth, because in his rage he seems to have been distracted, or maybe he has some meat left on his face from the guard. Okay, so yeah, count that one up to fair fortune. Okay, now Geen, you're at top of the order.
Okay, then I'm gonna use my bonus action to add my Kensei shot to my longbow shot at the Minotaur.
Go ahead.
That'll be a 15 to hit.
And you do hit.
Yeah. So that's 9. That's 12 damage.
He takes a exotic looking bow in the side of the neck. As he does, Geen, you feel a sudden surge head through your arm. Okay. And that arrow passes clean through the back of his neck. It doesn't sever anything, but it goes right through the muscle and lodges itself inside the wall, inside the outer wall of the keep. Okay.
Cool.
All right. Rogar, you now can turn and have reaction on this beast. His back is to you.
Okay. I won't have him like that. He's got to turn around and face me.
Okay.
Helm judge you. I'll shout at him.
Sure. Roll intimidation.
Okay.
Is that fair? That's a fair call.
Yeah.
18.
Yeah. Okay. He turns. He just screeches to a halt, and you can see his cloven hooves are tearing deep furrows into the ground as he stops, and then he brings his head back to you, and he goes, "Son of Helm." And now, if anybody in the party speak Abyssal,
I think no. Damn.
all right.
I was thinking about
Then in some strange dark language, you hear him snarl a curse. The only word that you recognize is Helm, Rogar, and he begins to turn, shaking his head and stomping his feet.
We are just messing with this guy now.
I mean messing, I mean killing.
And he is bloody. But you have his attention, and he's turned.
Okay. Well,
but I think with the way in which things are going, though, are you charging him at him at this point, or because he's several feet in front of you?
Yes. Yeah, closing the distance after that.
Good.
And
he turns quick enough to see your strike.
okay. That is 22.
No, you miss. Just kidding. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and let go of Bless, a first level spell that I had, and do Divine Smite upon him.
Fair
Oh,
enough.
he's getting smote.
He's
He's
getting
smitten.
smoted.
He's smitten. He's smitten with me. 18 damage total.
Call it.
And 10 of it was radiant.
Great. The blinding light of your blade comes down upon his head between the horns. You can go ahead and tell me what happens.
Okay. Well, as he shakes his head back and forth, it catches him right between the eyes. And I won't let it sink in too far because I want to see the light go out as I make sure to say, Helen will be waiting for you.
As he's
Oh.
shaking
Hold
his
the sword.
head with these enormous
Oh.
horns,
Morbid.
and you catch him just right square, you may want to see his face, and indeed you see his eyes, but they slowly get wider because you've cleft through the back of his skull.
Oh.
And now the weight of the horns literally tear the two halves of his skull.
Oh.
Oh
They
my!
hang front and back,
Oh.
and he sort of pirouettes and spins with
Don't
this.
follow me! Don't follow me! Don't follow me!
with this bottom jaw and tongue wagging.
Oh!
Run,
And then
run away.
and then just hits the ground running. And
Runt wants to run up and kick him.
Runt, I'd like, yeah, go ahead, run up and kick him. So
Yes.
at Runt, I'd also like you, as you're running up towards him and watching Big Daddy take this hit, can you roll perception for me real quick?
Yeah.
You gotta
Let's see.
stop with that.
I love it when you call me Big
Sorry, I keep
Uh,
thinking kick ass,
what?
right?
Yeah, that's what popped into my head. 14.
All right. You indeed see and hear the second horse tearing off,
Oh,
glunk,
no.
glunk, 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 farther and farther away, carrying, and it's a large horse and a large
Oh.
half orc on it.
Oh, you son of a! Okay.
Are we
Okay,
still in combat?
Are we
you.
still?
Well, just tell me quickly where all of you are. We have a halfling, which has managed to escape.
I'm most likely.
Something. He's watching this happen. He's managed to dodge, both a minotaur and a dragonborn that was tearing after him, and he's standing there kind of dumbfounded, looking around, assessing the situation. He's not going to head for the burning keep. Instead, he quickly surveys the damage, and he's just, for now, I'm just going to say he's dumbfounded. Okay.
Okay.
He's taking a minute to absorb everything. Okay, that leaves Runt. You're free to act if you want to. Do you choosing to take any kind of an action?
I wanted to kick the dead body, but if I see the halfling taken off, then I want to.
No, I'd say he's just standing there and he sort of drops his hands. He's
okay.
got the dagger in his hands and he sort of drops it. And
Oh,
he's kind of looking around, sort of wondering how many friends does he have left.
Then I'm
Half
kicking
orc
that
is
stupid
running.
The
dude.
half, the half
Yeah,
orc.
half orc.
running? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Then I'm signaling to everybody that we need to go. Like go.
All right.
Now.
You are down 2 horses, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. As you reach the just give me one moment. Okay. Geen,
Yo.
AC, please.
15.
All right. You feel a crossbow bolt tear through the silk and the gauze, or if you're still wearing your drapery around your hat, it tears through a hole and sticks in the ground in front of you.
Oh. Then I look up to see where it came from.
What you see up at the very top a rather confused looking guard, the last of the guards, up on the top of the keep itself as everything is burning, and he's literally standing on this wall, holding out, sitting on another timber, and he's just decided to take a pot shot with the one shot that he's got left. At which point he falls down through from the top and just opens up in front of you as he just collapses. And then soon now the entire building is just smoking. It's a huge smoking wreck. Flames spiraling out of control and just in a huge column in the sky. And now we're out of initiative.
Okay.
Bolting for the door.
Kane goes for the horse.
Yeah, I'm going for the horse.
Gets on a horse, lends his hand down to get anyone onto his horse.
All right.
Down two.
You are now at the outer wall, where the outbuildings and there's other doors inside that wall that are presenting themselves to you. I would like. Sorry, Kane. Who grabs Kane's hand?
I'll grab his hand.
Who's next out the door?
I'll run. So I guess if nobody else, I will.
Okay, Rogar and Runt. One more time. I want you to go ahead and roll perception, please.
Ooh, 6.
3.
You see nothing, and you emerge from the keep itself, and now you can hear blocks and whatnot leaving you. There's a few charred prisoners that have managed to make it out, but then have died in the road, and the keep is on fire and just collapsing behind you. Okay, we have 3 horses.
I get on one of them.
Okay,
All right.
Dean is on one horse.
I'm with Rogar.
Pull up.
I'm very,
Pull up.
I'm,
Well, actually, pull up.
I'm very light.
With you, yeah. And I'll look to Geen and say, "Chase her down. I'll catch up."
That's what I'm doing.
And slap the rear of the horse.
Okay. So, all right. So, just remind me now. We have Geen on a horse. Runt is behind Geen. Claire is on a horse.
I'm with Rogar.
Runt's with Rogar.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
away.
Claire is with me.
Okay. Rogar, are you on a horse?
No.
No.
No, there's 3
Runt
horses.
is on a horse by herself. Yes.
I was
was
wherever
wondering.
Rogar was.
And Rogar, you guys are running from this scene? Yep.
We're gonna have to.
Okay.
No, there's 3 horses.
There's 3 horses, so yeah.
The big one's gone now.
Oh, we lost the war horse?
Yeah,
We
'cause
lost
Yeah,
the war
but-
horse.
Racine took it.
A half orc took it.
Oh, shit. Oh, I missed
Oh no. Okay, well.
Okay. You quickly pass the bluff. You come upon the bluff where you were originally stopped, and there at the bluff, you see a rather curious sight. You see the dead body of a human, right? Older human. And if I'll just say, for Kane, you see the outline, or you're able to remember this was the gentleman that, if we can call him a gentleman, the prisoner that stole the first horse. You continue down the path, and now you're at the river's edge, and there waiting at the river is Racine Fell with both horses.
All right then.
What would you like to do?
Again, I ride up, I stop the horse, and it skids a little. I'm like, so you just leave the fight?
I saved these horses.
You
We're not
have
going to get
some-
we're not going to get very far if we're A, acting alone, or B, if we can't move at speed.
Acting alone? You left us.
I saved your ass. And she pushes her hand into your chest. And if you didn't look so much like Burkle, I wouldn't have done that. And she pushes you hard enough that you almost fall to the ground with her big orcish finger.
Wait, are you still on the horse?
I mean, no, I got off.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to say you're all there. Rogar, you've taken up the rear here. Far enough away you can still hear the screams and everything, or well, the collapsing building, but you're far enough away now that it's just a huge column of smoke. And
All right. I'm gonna say to Rathan, look, we're gonna get to safety. You're gonna be safe, and we'll talk about my Uncle Burkle when we're safe. That's the whole thing.
You better not make any more sudden disappearances.
she sort of looks at she holds up her hands and she says, "What am I doing here?
I
Does
don't
this
know.
mean nothing? I
Yeah.
stopped, didn't I? I could have taken both of these horses and been long gone.
After you stopped after.
After I saved both horses."
Claire,
like
she's right, but Rathan, you should have stayed behind and helped us with the Minotaur at least. I nearly got trampled.
You know what? Let's
She
just
seems
rest.
frustrated by this conversation at this point. She walks the large war horse over to Rogar and she goes, "Yours." And
You
then
owe
she
him
said,
an
and then she
apology.
holds the mace out, handle first, and goes, "And yours."
I'll take it.
Are we going
Thank you.
back to Brayden?
I don't plan on setting my feet anywhere near Flan.
And so,
And-
what do you suggest?
Do you know a safe place for us?
I thought you were after Burkle.
We are.
So then
We
your road is not safe. You want to
Well-
go to Burkle?
Yes, actually, I take out the bag of gold pieces. This was to release Burkle. We thought you were going to be Burkle.
Well, look. We've got two choices. Near as I know, Burkle is with the Grey Cloaks. You want to stay out here with the kobolds that are running around, with that crazy dragonborn leading them? You want to be kobold meat? You go ahead and you stay out here. You want to run back to Flan? You go ahead. But you're not going to find Burkle there. As near as I can tell, our best chance is to seek out the Grey Cloaks. We seek out the Grey Cloaks. Maybe you have a chance of getting your uncle back.
Burkle is working with the Grey Cloaks?
Now she's really frustrated. She's just like, ugh.
I think he's captured by the Great Cloaks.
The Grey Cloaks belong to Karathor.
Yeah.
Mercenaries, pirates. The Grey Cloaks. Burkle was in Grimshackle with me. The Grey Cloaks came. Burkle is not in Grimshackle with me. They traded a sizable amount of gold, and one of their own captains, Walharrow, that horned beast back there, to release your uncle. And she points back at you, Kane. That's a hell of a ransom to pay for somebody.
Yeah.
So my guess is he's safe enough if they want him alive. Why? She's supposed to talk like this. Why am I growling?
Out of frustration, Geen is going to go walk away from this entire group. If there's a tree nearby, she's going to punch it.
There is a tree nearby.
Okay, then I'm going to walk away from everybody. I'm just going to go like this and then just punch the tree.
Roll damage. Let's say you hit it.
That's 4 damage.
All right. You punch the tree. Tree says, "Not today, Geen."
And I'm just going to stay there
Okay.
in front of the tree.
All right. So here's the scene. You are several hundred, few hundred yards away from the burning wreck of this prison. The 5 of you are there with your 5 horses and this newly rescued half-orc. You have one of your party deeply upset and punching trees. I'd like you to just talk a little bit about what your plans are at this point.
Well, Kane feels bad about the gold a little bit, and also he's mostly focused on finding where the Great Cloaks are and finding his uncle.
Sure. So if he asks Wraithine Fell, she says, my suggestion is we head to the camp of the Grey Cloaks and we see if we can get your uncle out. I owe him at least that.
I say that's a great idea. If you guys have any objections?
None.
We have 2, maybe 3 days ride before we can get there. And that is if we set off now. But as I said, we better make camp far away from here before it's dark out. There are things in these hills that you don't want to mess with.
What will Braid and Yale think of us? Think if we don't return for days, could he get someone out after us? Or do you think
You don't.
be dead?
I'm going to say at this point you don't know.
Okay. And Clara's feeling very frustrated too, and she picks up a rock and throws it, just watching it explode.
We have 2-3 days of travel, Fell says. If you can get supplies, get supplies. If we can be safe, we can be safe, but I'm not going to Flan.
Why aren't you going to Flan?
Let's just say I don't have any friends, save Burkle.
Do you know a Brendan Earl?
I've taken more money from Brendan Yill than you can count.
Well, then. I feel like a couple of us should get supplies, and some of us should stay here.
Yeah. Clara volunteers to go.
I will go.
Okay, so what's the plan?
Yeah,
me and Claire will go back to Flan, get some supplies, return the cash,
yeah.
and then head back over here.
Remember that there
We
was a
should also-
gray cloak that spotted us leaving, though.
Yeah, that's also that.
Yeah.
But
So, and you're also doing the classic split the party.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
What's
think
the
we
worst
should
that
make
could
a
happen?
note that
It's like a Scooby-Doo.
Do we have enough supplies to get us through this journey as is?
You have, I would say, meager supplies, right? But you probably have enough for 2 days travel, maybe 1.5. You're sharing it now with a rather large half-orc. Nobody's opened their peanut butter sandwiches, so you've got a little bit, and there may be game around.
Yeah, and yeah.
There is a wrecked keep behind you.
Oh, there is?
What's that?
There is? I didn't know that. Okay.
No, there's a
just-
wrecked keep behind you. Remember, there's a burned out keep, but
He's
Yeah.
talking about the jail.
Oh.
We can go back and sift through the
Just saying.
ruins of the place that got
Hey,
burned down.
Claire, I don't like that sarcasm.
I know a few places along here, a few farms and the like, that we could probably... Well, if they don't see me, we might be able to get some lodging for the night. Other than that, I think we're going to rough it. But we should head probably back to the safety of the Iron Root. And then I would say we get on the Flan path. It will take us over a bridge, but it's safer on the road. Safe from the wild things, maybe not safe from bandits. But if we find the bandits, then we probably find the gray cloaks. So a win-win.
Fine. Let's do
Sounds
it.
like a plan.
All right. With that, you make your way down to the road that cut off towards Flan. But instead of turning right back towards the city, you take a sharp left down the well-worn trail that is the Iron Route and onto what becomes the Fallon Path. Raylene informs you that the next major settlement along this is the town of Melvant, which is at the outpouring of the River Thar. I will say that you are able to make it in the closing minutes here to day's end. You've made decent travel time considering that you've only been on this particular road for 3 to 4 hours. And you can see the lights ahead of a campfire, perhaps several campfires. You travel for another 30 to 40 minutes. Now the light is getting quite low, and you notice that there is a camp ahead of you. Do you keep riding towards it? You can't make much out. What you can tell is there's campfires and there's people gathered around them. You don't see any major tents or anything to speak of. As you continue to ride closer, you see that there are several wagons loaded with goods. Obviously, this party has come as far as they're going to come as they're heading towards Flan. And they are held up for the night. There's approximately 8 wagons in this caravan. You can see that there are foot guards stationed all around the perimeter, and several of the people in the middle are fixing dinner and tending the fire and preparing for sleeping in shifts.
Okay. I'll come off of the horse and walk ahead, making sure that I've swept back the cloak that we were given, the makeshift cloak, and that my tabard is completely visible.
One of the men, a portly man, stands up from the middle of the fire, and he's watching you, and you can see all of the guardsmen. And to your count, with these 8 large wagons and a few horses, there's at least 25 people that you can see here. Several of them are armed and armored. They are beginning to congregate around you strategically as the leader of this group, who you assume is the leader, heads up in the middle of the group of guards.
Oh,
And he
hail.
approaches. Pardon me.
Hail.
Sorry. Hello, Knight of Helm. And he gives you a low bow.
We apologize for coming upon your party out of the darkness.
You
But
cannot
we-
control when it gets dark, nor can I. All I can say is the darkness is not your friend here.
I'll incline my head. We have a number of us behind who would wish to join you at your fire. We can pay if necessary. Please.
Not for a Knight of Helm. You're welcome at my fire, sir, and you're welcome to my food. I'm afraid, though, I have some troubling business to discuss with you.
Cock an eyebrow.
Why don't you come to the fire and we'll talk about it? And he opens the guards who sort of make way for him, and he walks you into the center. What are the rest of you doing at this point?
I'll gesture for everybody. Come on.
Oh, come on.
Clara,
Get
you
off
feel
the
you feel a hand at your at your shoulder, and it's Raythene Fell. And she turns to you and she says, "Give me your cloak. Give it to me now."
Why?
"Damn it, girl. Just trust me. Give me your cloak."
Fine. She's like petulant. Okay, fine. Here.
She throws the cloak over her shoulders, buckles it, and pulls the hood low,
Oh, sorry.
and and then hastily leaves you and actually follows the rest of the party. She saddles up next to you, Kane, and takes you by the arm, actually, in a rather romantic gesture, and lets you lead her into the center on the other side of your horse.
Okay. Just gonna go with it.
Okay. At this point, your horses are able to be hobbled, and they're sitting inside the wagons next to you. The merchants are also good enough, given that they're so close to their home base, to go ahead and provide some sacks of oats that they quickly give to the horses so that they're feeding. And Rogar, you are now sitting next to the fire with this merchant who produces a long pipe and stuffs it and begins to smoke it in slow, deep breaths. And you can tell that he's shaking.
What troubles you?
Paladin of Helm, I'm sorry I have to tell you this, but 3 days ago we came upon a horrific sight. One of your brethren, a cleric of Helm, was nailed to a tree. The devoured remains of many paladin from different orders. Order of the Shield, yes. Strewn on the ground around him. I knew this cleric, sir. He was a good man. I had met him a couple times before as he was up here. Smart man. Learned man.
What was he doing out so far away from civilization?
He was up here. I can't say I know, but the 2 years ago when he was here, many months ago, 2 years ago he was heading east. He was tracking something dear to Helm, something prized, and he had come north on its trail. He spoke of this artifact. But, well, it's hardly worth it now. He must have been dead for weeks. To be so treated, though, is a shame, especially for one whose only crime is being perhaps too blind in helping others. But I can draw you a map if you'd like.
Yes.
I think he deserves to be let down from that tree. I can't say I'm a brave enough man to have stayed and seen the job done. He then turns to regard the rest of the party, and he bids you all, come into the fire. Can you tell me how you all make yourself comfortable?
If there's a log, I'll just sit on it. Or if there's no log or no seating, I'll just sit on the floor and just follow Raythene's lead because, yeah.
Okay, so you and Raythene are sitting. She still has her hood pulled over her face. Rogar, how are you lounging at this point?
Not.
Okay.
Instead, I've begun pacing, muttering prayers.
Okay. Clara.
Being as I'm now without a cloak, I'm gonna like get as warm, as close to the fire as I can because I don't want to be chilled.
Okay. Runt.
Wherever Rogar is, trailing
trailing
behind. Yeah.
Okay, so
trailing
you're
behind.
equally pacing as he's pacing, looking
Yes.
thoughtful. Not quite sure what you're saying.
Not,
Geen,
not
you
quite sure
come.
why I'm thoughtful, but I'm thoughtful because Rogar's thoughtful.
Sure. Geen, you. A man comes up to the fire on the command of the. Sorry, Clara, and he gives you a blanket.
Thank you.
Geen, you are. You're next to the fire at this point.
I am not directly next to it. I'm kind of a little far away, and I'm just kind of looking at, kind of just taking a glance at everybody, seeing what kind of people are here, getting an idea of who they are, and in the back of my head, looking for someone that looks like they may be from where I'm from.
Yeah, you don't see anybody like that. Do you just tell me how you guys are preparing for the evening at this point? So you've got a night in front of the fire. Geen, you still are wearing your
My
hat.
hat.
Yeah.
I'll
with the
keep.
hole in it.
Well, I'll for now, I'll just take it so that the veil can be opened and kind of wrapped up, like kind of rolled up and pinned to the sides or to the edges. So I'll keep wearing it, but I'm gonna take my veil and just pin it up so I can see properly through it.
All right. Yes, as you open it up, and as you do, the man with the blankets is approaching you. That he holds one out, and first he motions towards the fire, and then he turns back towards you, and the firelight catches your face. The moment the firelight catches your face, the man drops the blanket.
I try to catch it.
You do. You catch the blanket.
Oh.
I'm just gonna stare at him.
Why did you just roll?
And for the moment, you look up. He is gone. And you
What?
and you feel cold steel against your throat.
Oh,
What?
And that's where we'll end.
no!
Oh,
What?
Fucking vampires. It's vampires. It's fucking
Steel?
vampires. Vampires.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Hold it.
So well done on the prison. As we just close here.
Oh, my head is throbbing.
he got so excited he gave
He's
himself a
losing it.
headache.
All of four of you are enjoying the heat of the fire. I should say two are enjoying the heat of the fire. Two are pacing nervously. One on the periphery, perhaps not far enough for her friends to see, is being held with a dagger to her throat.
Fucking knew those two. This is too good to be true. Too good to be true.
And I will just say, you feel the slightest bite.
I do.
Gene, Geen, not of teeth. Sorry, Kane.
Oh, okay.
Just of the dagger, and just a slight slash, and the world begins to go dim. Hazy, we'll say, more than dim. Okay, your eyes are starting to lose focus. That's where we'll actually stop. So, lots happening that one. So why don't we just go around the room and just talk quickly about what inspired you as you listen to the game, and perhaps what your fellow players had to offer.
Yeah, I'm ready for beans.
And
All right.
beans.
I got a bean to give away.
Yeah. Okay, Runt, why don't you kick us off?
Well, I really want to give it to Rogar for that kill, but because that was really good. But there's something that was more subtle that I absolutely loved. It was when we were walking through the prison and Clara saw the poor unfortunate souls and just like turned up her nose at them.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, all right. She's kind of uppity. All right, okay. So
In her defense, though, she also drew back those bolts as she was leaving.
Yeah.
exactly. That's levels,
So,
man. She's got
pretty
layers.
good.
I'm
Absolutely.
like an onion.
Onions
Right.
have layers.
I like that.
Alright.
That was fun.
Excellent.
No, I'm gonna give my bean. I'm gonna give my bean to Runt with the whole lockpick thing. It's just like, huh? Lockpick. That was just great. I love that.
Mhm.
It's definitely
Excellent.
something like Runt would do.
Excellent. So we have one bean to Clara, one bean to Runt.
I'm just trying to think of what all happened.
I know there was so much that happened. I'm trying to replay everything in my head.
I'm gonna give it to Geen for punching the tree and taking damage from the tree.
Okay.
That's good.
I didn't even know she took damage.
She took
But
4
the
points of
tree- the
damage.
tree took
I think the
damage.
tree took
okay.
the tree
Oh.
fended off your attack.
Yeah.
So, okay.
3 dodges.
Okay. One to Clara, one to Runt, one to Geen.
I want to give mine to Rogar, for the fight, and I don't know. I just thought he was badass.
Excellent. All right.
I really love that Minotaur kill. That was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that was
That
really
was
cool.
sick.
Yeah.
Rogar, you have one to go. One to give.
The bead will go to Runt today
Excellent.
because this was the first time that she actually spoke.
Oh yeah.
There's been some pantomiming, and
Yeah.
but today the voice was heard, and
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah,
I was thinking
it
she
was
wasn't going
for-
to talk unless she was asked a direct question because she's not into talking.
It was it was the first time because
Yeah.
the first time we technically heard it was meta.
Yeah.
Like with Session
Yeah.
0. Dang.
You're
There you go.
welcome.
So wait, was that
One.
everyone's first time to hear Runt talk then?
Yeah.
So that was all of our characters' first time to hear that voice?
Well, not mine. but-
Not
Well, not
right
yours,
And
yeah.
not yours.
Ours, yeah.
Whatever.
probably.
Well,
everyone else,
there's gonna be
yeah.
a lot of questions after we save Geen with the whole silver dagger thingy.
Oh yeah.
I will say, I love Kane's enthusiasm.
So I would. So I'm going to award my bean if you don't mind, and I think I would say I really enjoyed and was surprised by, but not unpleasantly so, when Kane chose to turn and knock that door in the middle of all hell breaking loose, and I just thought that was really interesting.
That was pretty cool, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I thought that was something to see. This wizard, stuff's going down, and he's like, knock, and the door just opens, because it could have
Look.
proved a real problem.
Yeah, I was just instantly thinking, okay, maybe they'll unfocus on us if they notice that a bunch of prisoners are running out.
Yeah.
That didn't work. They
Good
just
idea.
people stole our horses. That was about it.
They did. Yeah.
And there was a lot of great moments in that for sure. And I would
thought
say
it was fun.
I'm glad you thought it was fun. So the cool bean score sits at Rogar, having used his inspiration this round, now has 2 beans to his name. Kane 3, Geen 4, and both Runt and Clara enter next game with inspiration with 5 beans each.
Yeah.
We're currently calculating the exchange rate on beans, and there may be some inflation. We've been kicking this idea around whether or not we want to work a little harder for them. But for now, both Runt and Clara have inspiration next round. So
Sweet.
Nice.
So unless anybody else has anything else to
Magic
add,
missile.
I think we'll call that a Saturday night.
Cool.
Oh, that's
Cool.
good. Excuse me.
Thank you so much, everybody, and have a great
Mhm.
evening. And we'll
Yeah,
talk to you
thanks.
soon.
Thanks,
Thanks everybody.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.